What's up, everybody? It's your boy, the Italian Stallion, ready for another episode of Rebels with a Cause. You know what it is, baby. It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday night. It's time for the cause. And remember, that cause don't stop when the clock hits zero, baby. We got a great show tonight. We have a special guest. The boss is going to talk to us, and I'm going to let you know who the boss is. He is the guy that is in charge of everything that is Rebel Sports at Knoxville West High School, and he's only been in the position a couple of years now, but man, he has really hit the ground running, really sustained a level of excellence, and I couldn't be more prouder of my alma mater with someone like that running the show. You're going to get to hear from him firsthand tonight, all the exciting things happening with all the sports, specifically these fall ones as we start the new school year for Knox County Schools. And as you saw with the title, welcome back, school is in session. And I'll tell you one thing, it's just like the schooling that happened on Friday night. It was a great scrimmage for West High School. We got another one this Friday night. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk a little Olympics, SummerSlam results. Interesting pay-per-view. Really went a different way that I anticipated. Of course, the chat box is going to be hopping. So if you have any questions for our athletic director, definitely put them on that chat box. First and foremost, I also want to just state that the views and opinions of this program are not affiliated with those of any other organization or of West High School. These are solely the RWAC Crew, which is myself, the Italian Stallion, two-pair Tate, Brian Tate, the coach, our stats guy, Shane O'Mac, Shane McGee, as he's now been dubbed by one of our beloved players who's a fan of the show as well. Shout out to you, Parker. Anyway, without further ado, I also want to give two quick shout-outs. I want to give a shout-out to my boy Alex Thatcher, class of 2003, Mr. Knoxville Coffee Company himself, right there in the heart of Marble City, right off of Sutherland Avenue. You want some good brew? Go pay him and his daddy a visit. They'll make sure that it's good any time of the day, morning, afternoon, or even that third graveyard shift. Go pay him a visit there at Knoxville Coffee Company. And also, got to give a shout out to my gals, Kim Castle and Rachel Davis. They make the stallion look suave there at King's Chamber. Go pay them a visit. They're open. Let them know that this show recommended you to go in there. They'll get you a little discount on any of your services. They offer VIP packages if you want your waxes done, eyebrows, ears, nose. They also take care of the beards, razors, hair, massages. They will take care of you there at the chamber. You will feel like a true king when you get the royal treatment from them nice ladies. So tell them the stallion sent you. Without further ado, though, wherever you're at watching this live or recorded, I want you to give some love to all my co-hosts as well as our special guest when we bring him on properly. First and foremost, he is Mr. 2003 West. He is the voice of the Runnin' Rebels and Lady Rebels basketball for 18 plus years. And he is the hardest working man I know, my favorite Florida State Seminole from this Miami Hurricane, and my brother from another mother, and the coolest dude with a mic. Give it to him. He entertains. That's what he does. He's a true rebel with a cause. The one, the only, two-pair Tate, Brian Tate. What is up, man?
Man, let's clap it up, man. I'm doing great, man. Doing great. I'm glad that we can get our athletic director who I always sing his praises because he's just really phenomenal and just the way he is with the kids and the way we've got a flag. We have a girls flag football team.
I know.
We
I
have a
know.
lacrosse team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like we I would have never thought this were to happen at West after I've been out of school, just to see
Mm-hmm.
the progress and then how they are scholastically
Oh, yeah.
is, you know what I mean? Just and that's the thing, like these guys are really student athletes because they get it done in the classroom
They do.
as well on the field of play. Like that's one thing I will say that I gotta give big props to Paul Romero and the way that he is through all these sports. Like, and the thing is, it's getting to the point where West is competing in every single sport
Yep.
to and it used to be we were the tennis school, we were the swim school, we were
The
the
golf,
soccer school, we were the
cross
golf
country.
school,
We had a track star
track
too.
school, the
Yeah,
track school, the cross country school. Now
yeah,
we're the football school, we're the basketball school, we're the school now.
yeah. We are.
And
We are.
it's a testament because I know from watching West growing up in the '90s, like I was able to see the great Marlon Bustle, um, who played for West and whose father recently just passed. I can just remember going to the West High games and seeing a dude like Marlon Bustle, and that's what I want. I wanted to go to West because of a guy like that, and he was just an exceptional basketball player. And to lose his father suddenly like this, um, it just really hurts the community because what I'm saying, Mr. Bustle was very big in Marlon's life, man, and definitely wanted to touch on that before we get things really rolling tonight.
Absolutely. You want to know something else? It stinks because we all are celebrating our 40th birthdays. We've done that throughout the course of this show, which is a beautiful thing. We've done that, and we're also needing to realize we're at that age where our parents are getting up there. I mean, I'm blessed that my father is about to turn 82 in October, despite surviving two heart attacks, prostate cancer. The guy's a
Bad,
machine.
yeah, that's
My
tough.
mom, my mom's surviving. She's a stage 4 cancer survivor of pancreatic cancer, and she herself is going to turn 75 come January. So the thing is you got to treasure these people in your life, no matter what their age is, because
Got to.
tomorrow's not guaranteed. And my sympathy and my condolences to Marlon
Hmm.
Bustle, the Bustle family, anybody that knew his father, and may he rest in power. Honestly, so for sure. So yeah. Um, the other thing that I wanted to say, to touch on what you said, Two Pair, before we bring on
Hmm.
the coach because he's got a new nickname.
Oh
I
man,
do.
the
He's got a new
coach, the
nickname.
stat
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
You know, seeing Shane, seeing the way Shane is with his son is so beautiful.
Yeah.
Like it's just beautiful to watch a father and son watch the football game, go over it, eat dinner,
Hmm.
him cut up, Shane correcting him. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
it's just beautiful to
It was
watch
real.
that.
It was real.
Yeah,
You know what
man,
I
it's
mean? It
beautiful to
was
watch
totally
fatherhood
real.
like
So
that.
yeah,
It's
it was
beautiful to watch
totally real.
fatherhood like that
Yeah. No,
because Shane was like, "Look, I'm not your best friend. I'm your father." When you know what I'm saying, he gave that look to him and let him know, like, "Look,
hmm
this is we
And
do
he
this
also
show.
we also had to tell him, "Buddy, you're entering 6th grade now. This elementary school stuff is
Yeah,
done, man. You
it's
middle
over
school
with."
now." And you wanna know something? When I give the nicknames and the things that we're known for, this
Yeah,
isn't just a joke, man. He really is father of the year, man, raising 3
yeah,
kids and, ladies, you have a good one right there. He can cook too, so I'm telling you, he's the all-around package right there. So hit him up. But truth be told, real quick before we bring him on, you brought up something that I did wanna bring up about the scholastics as well. Yes, these are student athletes, and the
hmm,
incredible workload that they have to do, the tests, all that stuff, the competitiveness to get into colleges now, or whatever trade school or whatever
yeah,
you want to pursue. Before the One West slogan became what we all live by now, there was a slogan that I really believed in when we were kids there, and that was West is best. And
West
it's
is
proving
best.
that on and off the field and courts respectively. So
Yeah, it is.
yeah,
It is. It's really
S-
beautiful to see, man.
yeah. But without further ado, let me bring him on. He was the stats guy, still is our stats guy. He is father of the year. He is uh absolute beast in the weight room when he's there as well as in the kitchen. And I do want to just say he has now been deemed the coach by Mr. Parker Dubon, who is a fan of this show and a current player on the West Rebel football team. So we will introduce him formally now as the stats guy, the coach, Shane O'Mac, Shane McGee. Let's bring him on, everybody. So
What's up, fellas? How's everybody doing tonight?
Gotta make some noise for that. Gotta make some noise for
absolutely.
that.
Yeah.
Gotta
I
make some.
appreciate
Hey,
all the
Shane,
kind words. Man,
I'm
I
not gonna
literally,
lie, man. Like that was real fatherhood, man. Real fatherhood. That's what That's what Rebels with a Cause is all about. I'm about that. You just, you know, like you let your son know, I'm not your best friend right now. I'm your father. Like,
Yep. Like, yeah, we cut up, we go fish, we do that stuff. But when it's time to be, when I gotta be dad, I'm dad. Like that, there's no,
yeah.
like, boy, I raised you better than this. You better you straighten up right now, or me, you go a different issue.
Mm-hmm.
Same way on the football field. Like when he's on the football field, I'm coach. I'm not dad. I'm dad from 5:50 at 5:59. It stops till 8:01. I'm coach, and I will rip into him. I will treat him like I treat every other kid on the team. But after that, then I'm right back to dad. We discuss the games. We'll discuss behavior. We'll do all that stuff. And I watched that boy get in a fight yesterday. I was like, hey, I get it. You got passion. Take it to the field. Don't fight your teammates. But I love seeing the aggression. But I'll quickly correct. I'm his coach.
That's the switch that's needed to be flipped on when you're on the field, when you're battling with other warriors, no matter the age limit. So yes.
I got to give my boy props tonight, though. I literally just walked in the door from the scrimmage against Grace. Found out they played their 7th and 8th graders against my 6th grade teams, 17 6th graders. Mm-hmm. And my boy literally lined up against a kid a foot taller than him. He has probably about 40 pounds on him. And he covered it like he needed to.
That's awesome.
What he had to do was literally just stick his hand up and grab the ball, but my boy was on his hip the whole time, so I was proud of him tonight.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Great to hear that. Great to hear that.
Well, guys, we have a special guest that has been waiting patiently backstage. He's a very busy man, and I know that we've already thanked him, and we'll thank him 1,000 more times for everything that he's done for the show. He has actually promoted us on the Fan Zone on the West High app. If you have not gotten that app, go to the Play Store. Go to the Apple Store, download it. It's free, and you can get alerts on any of the sports. It's something cool that I wish we had back then, but more than anything, you can keep up with all the Rebel sports, so definitely get that app. And he was kind enough to promote our show on the Fan Zone portion of the different tabs that you can catch on the app. But without further ado, I want to bring him on with a proper introduction. Although he has not been at West long, he has done so many things and kept this thing going. And realistically, in my opinion, that's such a hard thing to do when you've had other guys that have been there before you, like a Mr. Carruthers or Tom Poisel, who did a very good job as well.
Mm-hmm.
But to step in and keep it rolling and taking it to other extremes, you got to get the props for that. But I want to introduce him because he is the boss. That's what I like to call him. The boss, the athletic director, the who dat guy, honestly. And you'll know right away why he is that who dat guy, honestly. And I'll tell you this, nicest, kindest guy that really gets it done. And I couldn't be more prouder of a guy that is our athletic director of our alma mater. Let me bring him on, the one, the only, Mr. Paul Romero. Give him a Rebels with a Cause welcome, Marble City.
Appreciate you having me. I just got to say this before we start. I appreciate the kind words. I am not the boss. I am still the rookie in this administration thing. Without Dr. Spees and the way that she does all the things, man, I'm a rookie. Okay. So, and Crothers, let me just tell you, of all the things, man, to be able to step into a spot where I've got people like him who have done the job and know what to expect and just kind of know where the punches are coming from, man, I'm good, and so it's without them, I don't do it, and Poisel too, man, he really helped me when I was taking over that seat for him. So you couldn't ask for a better spot to slip into at a better school,
Paul, we talked about it on the show when we cover after the ring ceremony, how special it was that 2 of your administrators from last year's school year have moved on to become principals at other schools. And it just shows how amazing the faculty is at your school, from the administration to the teachers, because it seems that they always land bigger and better jobs. You hate to lose them, but at the same time, it shows why the school is so diverse and in the shape that it's in from this outsider's perspective. Can you talk about that and elaborate on that, Paul?
Athletics, obviously, as an IB school, man, we are doing a lot of good things academically, and on the administrative staff, you said it. I mean, you come into West, you learn how to do a lot of the things, and we have like Dr. Harmon over there at Hardin Valley Middle. Jonathan East. It seems to just be something that continues to happen. So, look, man, the Jesus has brought into this thing the whole One West. It's not going away, and it's going to stick for a long time. And so, it's great to see, man. I'm really glad to be a part of it, without a doubt.
Two-Pair, what do you got for Mr. Paul Romero as he gives us his time tonight? He is up for any question, anything you want to know.
So Paul, like,
Mr. West?
Yeah, 03.
Doesn't it?
Oh man, I'm trying, man. I'm trying every day. But Paul, so as being an educator, like what are like your principles on maintaining all your programs to be successful all across the board?
Right, but we always are, I guess. But my thing is, I had a coaches meeting the other day, and it was really just about the mentality. And I think the mentality is to just put your head down and work. There's no job that you're too big for. Just do all the little stuff. I know a lot of times you kind of find it around our things that need to be done. That you just, like I say, you just band together, you put your head down, and I think everybody fills in the cracks for everybody else, and that's been
what
said it in the
working.
intro. Yes, I mean it has, and but you look at all the sports, man, they're all coming up, they're all at different phases of that mountain, and they're all climbing, or they're at the top of the mountain, and it's how do you sustain it? And so we've got a lot of good people, and the kids buy into what's happening. And, my job is to just make their life easy and see if we can't just keep it going, and so far it's worked well.
Yeah, you make it really easy, man. Like I'm telling you, you're one of the easiest people to talk to and ask. Say, hey, if this happens this week, is there any way that our class can be there or be present, or and I just think you really like brought the alumni back to the point of, I would have never even thought about we'd be doing a podcast interviewing the athletic director before the school year starts. Like it's just amazing for this to be even a conversation right now. Like,
I have a great deal of appreciation for the alumni. I think when you're, I'm going into my 16th year here, so I've been able to see a lot of. I've been able to see a lot of the same families, and those kind of things. They're special. You don't get that a lot, and so the alumni matter, man. I'm trying to figure out ways that we can incorporate them. That's why I love this. This is a great opportunity to discuss the athletic department. Bring back the alumni, and then try to figure out a way to put our kids front and center. And so I think that's it's a nice mesh of everything. That's what's great about our community, is that everybody's got a lot of different skills. It's just a question of how do we hone that and, just keep moving. So.
Shout out to Kerry Rivas. Good evening, my friends. Awesome having the best AD in Knoxville and Paul Romero. So kind, Kerry. Thanks for tuning in, brother.
It's right there. There he is.
Yeah, he is. Yes, he is.
One and only, the legend Kerry.
Yeah.
Tailgate places you can possibly go. Let me just go ahead and say that. So,
I like
Pinto
that.
tailgate for sure.
I like that. So, Paul, I wanted to also bring up something. You mentioned the community and the One West. That's the one thing that I'll defend, that it really is One West. And look no further than, not only the football side of things, but the other sports as well, and the families you mentioned. Can you talk about how important that has been, and not only the families, but the community around the school and their contributions, like a dead end barbecue? I mean, you look at the facilities on the campus. I mean, big screens. I mean, these things aren't cheap, and it is. It just really makes it a power. Why wouldn't you want to play your respective sport and get a heck of an education at your school? Talk about that, please.
Yeah, I see a lot of these aerial views of the school from just 7-8 years ago, and the facilities are just completely different. You go to the walkway, the softball field, the football, all of it. So. Man, look, you look at, the community, you look at our WAC, and just the emphasis that they put into, taking care of our kids, the facilities, and we're not done. There's still more that's happening. And so, man, the buy-in, they don't stop, and so I think that's one thing that I've found that I didn't really expect is that, you're always sad when the kids leave, but you don't really expect that, you just don't anticipate that the parents graduate too, right? Because you have some groups of parents that have 2, 3, 4, 5 kids that they're there for 10, 12 years. So you're so used to seeing them that when they graduate, it's bittersweet, but they have poured into this department and the facilities that we have. My job right now, man, I told our coaches, one of our points of emphasis is going to be really trying to make sure that we keep everything cleaned up and trying to find storage and just doing the things that help us flow. I feel a lot better about it going into year 2. I can kind of just kind of know what to expect a little bit and, see if we can't get that done. So, we're looking forward to it. The community is great. They don't stop. And, we can't do without them. Certainly not.
Shane, do you have a question for Mr. Romero?
Yeah, actually, I did. So, also, you've made a lot of coaching hires recently. What goes into your thought process when you're hiring new coaches?
Well, brother, I haven't got to meet you, man, but it's good to talk to you. So, last year at the I jumped into this thing in January 2023, right? So my first coaches meeting last year, I made the joke. I said, we have changed no head coaches, but we changed every athletic director, right? So I talked to Poisel. I didn't just do that on my own, right? So but this year, we have 23 different spots, 8 different coaching hires, right? Now those are all for different reasons, whether but I think what goes into it more than anything is, where is the program, right? Where are they on that mountain, right? I'll just give you an example, right? And so, because everybody wants to win all the time, but you can't define success just by the wins and losses, right?
Yeah,
football is obviously at the top of the mountain. How do you stay at the mountain? But let's look at
myself. I always try to make sure I'm developing my players and making sure that they're not just successful on the field, but also in life afterwards. So
you want them to pay attention. All right, what are you learning right now? So, when you hire our boys basketball, that was a very popular position, and you just look at the group that's coming back. Mm-hmm. You look at the way that they played over the summer, and the stability that Coach Eggleston brings. What is where are they, and what do I think that coach fills in? And so it was a perfect match. Likewise, if you're looking at the girls basketball, right? They don't win a game last year. Which let's be clear, you don't win a game, that's fine. But those girls were still there practicing at 6 o'clock in the morning. So there's still a lot of credibility that goes to that, I think. Mm-hmm. So
in a bloodbath of a region, may I add too? In a bloodbath of a region.
Yeah. Tough region.
Feel sorry for us, right?
Yeah.
So, you bring in Coach Graves, and he's got a high energy guy. Came from Bearden Middle School, and so you look at how do I piece where the program is versus where I think we can go and what I think that coach fills it in. And, we especially with our basketball teams, we think that we're going to see some
one thing that we've mentioned on the show before, Paul, and it's kind of special because you look at anniversaries and they come and go, and look no further. We've lost a few teammates that you'd think would be around a little bit longer, but life happens and things tragically happen. But I really do hope that we can somehow reach out to that team from the year 2000 that is the only district tournament championship team in West basketball history, to honor them, because it would be the 25th anniversary of them winning that district tournament championship, and also honoring Coach Lindsay and Coach Petco, because they were there, so hopefully maybe we can do a special ceremony at one of the games at halftime or before the game to honor them, just like you did with Nathan Cottrell last year, which I thought was that retirement ceremony was second to none against Farragut, and including his former running back coach and Coach Cummings, who happened to have a son, on last year's team, be a part of it. That the stars magically aligned, in my opinion. But your thoughts, really sir? Dope.
So and that's why I need members of the community to give me the heads up on when these things happen. we're aiming to do those things. We want to tie the past with what we're doing now and all the things. So no, we'll certainly do that. I mean, just to tell you this, just to go back to, I got a call today from Coach Shaver on football, 10-year anniversary of the 2014 football team.
Yes, the OGs. Yes, so yeah.
We'll see you at Central hosting the Central game. They'll be there for that one. You understand where we're going? So, all those things. Which can I just go off script a little bit?
Absolutely, but this is your show too.
Do we not? I love the 2014 team, but I got to tell you, man, the 2013 team. Those were such a good group of kids, and man, here's why it mattered, right? Because they lost by 1. We all feel like we could have won the game. We didn't. It's what it is, right? But, they sat around they were around for a year, and you saw the score, the 1 point, I think it was 28-27, all around the weight room. And, you saw it. Yep. And, it's hard not to just feel for them during that time. And how do they respond? They come back and they win the next year. So, a lot of every one of those gold balls tells a story. And I think that 2013 group, man, they were honestly one of my favorites. I know that they didn't win, so it's different, but I just had to say it. But 2014, we're very excited to bring them back, do the things. Yeah. The Nathan Cottrell thing, that all aligned well with Coach Giles being there. Coach Killian was there on that Farragut sideline. So, yeah, I hope we have more professional athletes that'll be retiring because we'll do one every single time. So, we hope to have as many as possible.
That's awesome. I will say this much. If I can say something about that 2013 team, you look on the field at that stadium, it's intimidating to see those banners. The 94 squad that Coach Giles played on. And Coach Cummings was on staff there with the late, great Bill Wilson, who coached that team. You look at 2010 that lost a heartbreaker 7-0 to Columbia Central. You see the 2011 state semifinals list that lost to Powell. 2013 was that team that broke that state semifinals and did it in grand fashion, only to show, to fall short by 1 point. But there were so many kids on that team that had experienced those losses, and it got them to, as seniors, get to that state title game, and they're winners in my book. I mean, the fact that you have so many teams and only 2 can take a trophy home. One is silver, one is gold. But to get there in that type of a classification with the teams and the names, I mean, they have nothing to hang their hats on, honestly, nothing at all. So,
say, man, as fortunate as we are for the last couple of years in football, that's why I have such a great deal of respect for Page High School, man, because what they're doing is not normal. So the fact that we're able to beat them, I got a lot of respect for them. They're a tough team, and they're probably going to be in the hunt again. So
yeah. And their facilities, I visited them a couple months ago. Unbelievable. Their stadium, I took a picture of their middle school across the street, and it's like this 5-story thing, and I was like, is that a hotel, or is that an actual school or something, or is this a college campus I'm at? I really felt that way. But yeah, no, what Coach Rathbone and them do over there, and they've lost a couple heartbreakers, and then of course our 22 team was a very powerhouse dominated team, but realistically, it's just a credit, though, to Coach Brown and the staff. I mean, there's been very little turnover on that staff, and they just – I've never seen a coaching staff get along, love one another, and I try to I brag about it. It's like they like being around each other. The egos are left at the door. Everybody knows their job, and they all have a collective goal. Can you talk about that? Like, have you seen that at any other school, Paul?
But I will say this, as happy as we are for the last couple of years, they paid their dues. They had some losing going on. They lost that 2020 game to Oak Ridge. That was a frustrating way to go. But they built it. It wasn't like they just stepped in and did the things. But no, look, Coach Brown, man, they've got that thing humming. They all know their roles. They're great, man. They do what they do. And I'll just give them a shout to it, man. Beyond the trophy win and all the things. We had a situation where we had an ambulance called to the field this week. They did it just the way that they should, and they're awesome, man. They keep on humming. I think we've got a couple new members from the staff. He's also bringing in former players to come in and help some of the players and different positional coaches. So I'm a one game at a time in every sport that we play. I hope we see Paige again, but right now it's one at a time. It's just Beard, man.
Absolutely.
So that's it.
Yeah, I know all those kids on that Bearden team. Well, I know most of the kids on that Bearden team. So it was a big game for me last year because as you can ask, two pair right there. They talked a lot of crap to me after that game.
So one thing I gotta say is West travels well everywhere. Like, what do you credit that the way West travels? Is it the social media? Is it the app? Is it the podcast? Like,
hey, I'm trying to put an emphasis on the social medias. I think that's the goal with the app is to really, promote our kids as best we can, in kind of a one-stop shop kind of thing, and give us that Saturday feel. I think that we have the kids just have that school spirit. It feels like it's coming back a little bit more. It's just,
right.
Yeah, it is. I think there's a social element to it. Look now, when we host football games, it's become the thing where, news either wants to come or we're on television or different businesses want to be a part of it. So it's certainly showing up. We hope it keeps on. We think it will. So
I got a quick question. What time is the kickoff for the Bearden game?
A whole lot better than noon.
Yeah, I literally coached the game that morning, and I literally made them change our schedule that week because Bearden and West youth teams were playing later that day. I was like, hey, there's a massive game. Can we get the early game so everybody can be at this game? Because I know it's standing room only no matter what location we're at. That game is packed and it's a must-see. And I love seeing the rivalry renewed because I know it stepped away for a couple of years. But growing up and playing there, like that was the game. Because there's only like a 6 mile difference. I know it's 6 miles between Bearden and Farragut. It's also 6 miles between Bearden and West. And that game has always been marked on my calendar. It's always a big game.
Well, and also, may I add, I am one of the few players that played on both sides of the rivalry. Of course, my heart is always West. Just remember that. So we need to remember that, and I remind Shane of that all the time. I want to just let you know, Paul, you've probably said hello to him, but the reason I have the guy that's name is up there, Merritt 3, up there, he's going to kill me if I give his real name out because he is incognito. You're not even seeing his name, so just keep that in mind. But I want you to know that you talk about parents that graduate with their kids, and so forth, and you hate to lose them. This gentleman right here has had 2 fantastic sons go through the school. One played football and basketball respectively, and he has been the stats guy for West for a few years now, does an incredible job, and he is a Bearden grad, but he is all West, and that's a tribute to him and his late wife, Wendy, who was very special to me as well. But I just want to say that this guy, even though his kids have gone on and been successful in their respective careers, he still is a West parent that is contributing, and until you tell him to go away, he ain't going away, and I love that guy. So I just wanted to show some props to Mr. Merritt III. So
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So let's talk about these fall sports. Obviously football and so forth, but let's talk a little girls soccer because a couple of years ago, I know that you were not quite in the position Poisel was leaving, you were entering, but the girls soccer team hired a coach, and they had probably their most successful year. Not that they have not had successful years in the past, but they've always been the bridesmaid and never the bride in the region that they played in, the Hardin Valleys. Obviously, Bearden's the number 1 team in the nation, Farragut, but they broke that level and got to state. And then last year they had a very good season, but they didn't quite make it to state. Can you talk about what the coach has done with that program and where maybe they are looking for this year in terms of getting back to state and being successful at that level that they've reached a couple years before?
Yeah. Roberto Castro, head coach. He's got a great staff he's got Charles Stewart, Austin Stone, Matt Beaton, Shane Corley. I mean, they've divvied out everything. I know that they've got their responsibilities, how they have it, but they obviously were disappointed last year. They don't feel like they accomplished what they set out to do. So I think with this group, I think there's a harmony that so far. I think they have. And I think he's going to have a lot of young girls step into roles where maybe they either didn't have it last year, and I think he's going to piece those together. So you're right, though. It's the daunting, region that they've got to deal with. But I think they probably view that as an opportunity, right? I'll say this, not to go off of girls soccer, but either look at our baseball region, right? Dealing with the Farragut's and all that.
Mhm.
Not everybody's going to make it to a state championship game. But, if you're playing these kind of teams in your regular season, you've got an opportunity to show what you could do. And
Exactly.
so, I think some folks probably, I won't say run from that, but maybe shy away, or it doesn't look favorable to them. But I think some look at it as a challenge that they say, hey, we want that. So I think Coach Castro is going to get those girls. I think they're going to kind of take what happened last year. I know that they ended disappointed, and I think they're going to take that and they're probably going to grow from it and try to see if they can't get to that next phase, and I think so far so good. We're about to hit them all. I know that they had the jamboree last week. And so, trying to get everybody healthy and ready for the first game, and we'll see where they go. But we like the direction that our girls soccer is going in, without a doubt.
Real quick, Paul, we do have a comment in the chat box for you. Would you believe we actually have fans of this show from other states, by the way? They're either good friends, brothers. This guy is one of the guys that actually gave me the idea for the show because he has his own show with another good friend of mine, Devin Lloyd. They host U Talk twice a week because they're big Miami Hurricane fans. But he's my favorite Cajun from Louisiana. And this is Mr. Larry Frank Jr. He wanted to say greetings to the West Crew. Not to change the subject, but what's that backstory behind with the New Orleans Saints poster? I'm a lifelong New Orleans resident, but he's a Steelers fan, and he really is a diehard Steelers fan. So, yeah.
Well, Larry, let me just say who dat. I'll just tell you, I got 3 little kids inside. My wife, I told her what I was doing. She said, you better not wake up these kids. So she sent me out to the garage, right? So I just want to be clear. I love the Saints. I'm a loud and proud who dat. I always have been, so it's not something that I'm ever leaving. I had the good fortune of being there when they won the Super Bowl. So it's not something. It was, if you look back at the 1998 Knoxville Catholic yearbook, it's got on there to see the Saints win the Super Bowl. So a good buddy of mine, he said, hey, as soon as that kick went in the NFC Championship, he said, we're going. I said, all right, we're going. Okay, here we go. So I'm glad I scaled that mountain there. So,
wow,
but
that's huge.
So,
that's
a good time.
Now that's a cool
your
story.
team win the Super Bowl.
Oh, dude.
Man.
Oh, listen, I love Peyton
man.
Manning. It was kind of weird there for about 2 weeks, because everybody's rooting for Peyton in this town. We love Peyton. I hope he owns the Saints one day. But for about 2 weeks, I kind of felt like a Florida Gator fan around here a little bit. People were just kind of so. But I'm glad it worked out. So it's a good time. So who dat?
Yeah, he says much respect to you, sir. Go Steelers, though. I hear you. You got to be true. So
I would love to win as much as they win. Let me just tell you. So that's the truth.
Yeah, for sure. Talking about the jamboree with the girls soccer, we would love to have any of the coaches. And of course, I want to give you the floor to talk about all the fall sports right now, because I don't think the audience realizes, all the sports that take place in the fall, in the winter, in the spring. And we will definitely address those other sports at those respective times. But can you talk about who the coaches are and give the fans a rundown of all the sports that are going on? Because realistically, I already saw 5-Star Preps covering a major golf tournament that happened, and we haven't even had the first day of school officially yet. So these seasons are going on even before they, take their first test. But you have the floor, sir. Go ahead.
Well, let me give it to you like this. I think that beyond just the games, right? So, like, if you look at our band, our director is Cody Foster. If you enjoy going to the football game, you're doing the concession stand, whatnot, they really do a lot to improve that game day environment. And I'm really trying to focus on that. I'm trying to see if we can't do a little bit with digital media to try to make that just as good as we can. We've got a new cheer coach. Her name's Amaya Loya. She comes to us from Arizona. Our girls are ready. They're going to be doing the things. And so I know we've got a lot of seniors on that group, and, we're excited to see what they do. Our cross country boys and girls, our head coach is Jason Altman, and they're going to be good. They are, our boys team, we've got some girls runners there that they believe that they're going to be going to state. They did last year. We lost Kate Robinson. Obviously, she was the finest runner in the county, but there's a lot of positive in our cross country program that they're going to be going deep, and so nobody ever really knows that. I know because they're kind of off campus and whatnot. But you kind of touched on it in the beginning was our flag football program, right? So Larry Styrone, he's an assistant coach on our girls softball team. Well, he's the head man here for our flag football, so it's brand new. We're excited to see what it's going to do. We host a couple of games there at the end of November, beginning of December there. So that season happens from the end of football season to the beginning of about December throughout the county. So we're excited to see what that takes us. Somehow, some way, I have been the powder puff guy for the last 15 years, right? Hundreds of girls come out. They love it. It's a great, it gets physical, right? And so now we have a flag football team. It's a sanctioned sport through the TSSAA. And we're going to treat it. We're here to win. And so I think he's going to try to get those girls right. There's going to be a learning curve, but we feel good about what that can be. So
if you need any help, I've got experience.
Yeah, good to know.
Yeah.
And obviously, man, our volleyball team, Coach Lee, Jessica Lee has been our coach here for a long time. Man,
phenomenal.
They didn't have the season they wanted to have last year, but she just does such a good job of those girls. They're just cohesive. They do. They compete there. I think volleyball, I think, is one of the most exciting sports to be at because it's like every volley is this escalation of noise we're excited to see what they do. We think that they're gonna have a shot to compete. All of our coaches, man, they just do a great job of getting their kids on the same page and doing what they need to do. So we're proud of them.
And also, the golf coach, how's their team looking for men's and women? So, yeah.
Thank you. Forgive me. I'm Todd Odell. Todd Odell. Yeah. Thank you. Yes. Golf.
Coach Odell.
Boy, yeah, right. Yeah, there you go. There's a West Side legacy. Our boys golf team, as well as our girls. I mean, they made it last year. Our girls did. There's no stopping with that group. We think that they're going to continue. I know Callie just got an offer, I think, from LMU to go play up there, and so our girls expect to be at state again. I think last year was the first year that they had been to state in I don't know how many years, 15, 20. And so we believe they're going to build on that. And our boys group too. We're excited to see that. So we think the fall is going to be exciting. They're all going to be exciting because winter. I don't want to rush it away, but winter will be here, and we'll have a good team with everything we're doing there as well. So.
Absolutely. And we will bring you on again to preview that as we get closer. I know we'll see each other every Friday night, and we have each other's number now that we can discuss when would be a good time to slowly start that transition because the seasons just cross in. I mean, it was crazy last year with the Snowmageddon, and the basketball and having to reschedule those games. And that was going to be my next question. Like, what goes into that part of it when you're trying to schedule or make up games and you have to kind of get with the other ADs in another school, especially when it's like a really important district game that needs to be played? Talk about the process and what goes into that, Paul.
Well, it increased the degree of difficulty. Let me say it like that. You end up, you had a bunch of games in a small window of time. And I think from a coaching standpoint, we had to figure out, I'm sure that they figured out how to rest their guys, do what we had to do. But it's a lot of communicating with the other ADs, with the head coaches. So our coaches are talking to theirs, as well as Mike Wheatley, who's the assigner of officials with Knox South Basketball. Great guy. But, look, man, one of the problems you end up having is that you have a shortage of officials. And that's across all sports, and so – when you have a lot of games getting put into a certain amount of time because you've got to get them done, some games start falling off the schedule if they're not district related. And so, the Snowmageddon, it was nice, but it also created its own things to have to overcome. So we worked it out. We hope we don't have to do it again, at least maybe not for that long. But, we like – I'll tell you what, man, we like our basketball teams. We want them to just go with the Tuesday, Friday, and let's just get to the district and go. So,
Yeah, because a lot of those games last year, man, you kind of saw teams tail off a little bit, and then teams get on a hot streak, and then teams just stride at the right time.
Yeah.
It
I felt
was.
that happened to William Blunt, I felt like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
William Blunt kind of picked it up. And so, yeah, we don't need anything messing with our schedule. We just want to go with the talented guys that we have that know what they're doing. We're excited about those groups because, you know, with our boys, you know, they don't have to think about anything new. There's no thinking. They just go, and they've been doing it. Now they know how to play together. They go. They're a great
Yeah.
group. And
Great group.
our girls, man, they got a little taste of winning over the summer. You know, they won a couple games here and there. They're starting to play together. So, you know, I'll tell you this, we have 2 head coaches on our girls basketball with Coach Reddick and Coach Graves. So
Yeah.
we're glad that they work the way that they work together. And, you know, we just feel like our girls are going to get a lot from it. So,
Yeah, I think so. And the thing that, you know, we struggle with, it was just, it was so many times where it they were trying every game, and we're just trying to find a solution of how to win. And that's the thing that I think that was different. It was just learning how to win and learning how to play cohesively, you know.
yeah.
And it's like now, you know, you see a little bit of difference, and you see a jump to it with Coach Graves and the way that he actually coaches so many other groups outside of coaching at West.
Yeah. No, it's true. Well, the problem last year, we couldn't put together consecutive possessions where we got that momentum and you got a little bit of juice and you're feeling good about it. You know, it kind of happened there at the end. I think it was against Central. But, you know, I just felt like when it snowballed, it snowballed. But I hope that the girls, they take something from that and they learn from it. You know, like I say, man, they were there at 6 o'clock in the morning still practicing, you know, and that says a lot about your character and where you're trying to go with it. So we're excited to see those, but we won't wish it away. It's fall right now. So we'll go with that first, though.
Paul, I wanted to also bring up, you wanted to talk about the band and, you know, maybe doing something digital with them. I will say this much. Going to a West game, and I'm not just trying to say this being an alum and a super fan, I'm looking at this from a perspective of if I was from out of town and I was just coming into it, it is a spectacle. It is an experience, not just a game. Yes, the talent on the field speaks for itself, but it is actually an inviting atmosphere. Can you talk about what has gone into that? Because I see even students that are running media, like music being pumped into games and things like that. The success of Diamond Clear Media broadcasting to those people that can't make it to the game, and also now the contribution of Russell Bivin and Jack FM even getting that out. So can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, well, so there it is. So you've got the Diamond Media component to it. You got the Jack FM. So there's television, radio. You know, so we have a product that people want to put out, and we appreciate that. As far as the game day, look, the digital media aspect is this. So I've got a class this year. It's going to be, I believe, 10 to 12 students, and what the focus is going to be is just trying to create game day environments with their. It's like this. You ever go to a wedding? Nobody ever thinks about this when you go to the reception. The most important person at the reception is the DJ. He's controlling all of the vibe of everything that happens. Likewise, when you come to one of our games, that press box, that Jumbotron worker, that person is kind of stirring it the way that we want it to go. So last year I was able to kind of come up with a script as to what I think those game days should look like. Obviously, we'll always try to move that around a little bit. I'm not trying to do anything that hasn't been done. I'm really just trying to copy UT. I mean, there's nothing to try to reinvent the wheel. But I'm excited about it because I think that if we can create the content, we've got things to put our Jumbotron. Man, that's another example of the WAC, man. Like, look at that. I mean, what a nice toy that is, right?
Yeah.
And all of our sponsors. Let me be very clear. I mean, we're so thankful for them.
Got great community. Great community.
Like every time we look up on that Tron and see all those sponsors, like you were just rattling them off. Like you've had walk-ons, you've had
Dead End Barbecue, obviously. Yeah.
Butler and Bailey, like
it's crazy.
Like it's just tons of like sponsors. We even the stuff that I be seeing on the screen, I'm just amazed with.
Right. I don't think it's just about winning. I think we've got the entire package of what we're trying to provide. So,
Mhm.
look, we're excited about that. I think that my wife laughs at me because I'll go to a UT game and I'm paying much more attention to what goes on there Jumbotron, right? Because I'm trying to steal ideas for, hey, okay, let's try to do a player intro video where we've got, our players. We tried it with baseball last year, right? Where the players do the thing. And so we're going to look to hone in on it. I think I've kind of figured out how to do it. Now it's just trying to delegate and trying to manage the time to see if we can get stuff up. So 2014 state championships in football, they'll have something nice, I promise you. So
Nice.
I hope we can get a good turnout for that, because I know some of the kids are still kind of in the area or in the region, but I would love to make sure that a good group of that group does show up and so forth, because they were amazing to watch. They were dominant, and we've kind of made the joke, like, who would win if in that hypothetical matchup, of 2014 versus 2022, and realistically, don't sell 2023 short, because let me tell you this, they could make a game, grind it out, and find a way to win, and they were like the cardiac rebels, honestly. I mean, Lamar said something at the ring ceremony that I didn't, with all the amazing stats, something that they won. They were undefeated and won 6 games by 10 points or less or something, and were undefeated, something like that. I mean, it was just insane to see that. So, yeah.
Well, let me answer, because I've thought about it. Okay. So the greatest team, without question, is the 2022. I believe that. The way that they just beat teams the way that they did, the best player is Nathan Cottrell.
Yes.
He just could do it, right?
Yeah.
But I'm gonna tell you, I said, like, every goal ball tells a different story. There is no way. I mean, the 2023, here's what makes it so special, is that 6 games by a 1-score game. Furthermore, you look at, a lot of times it felt every offense, defense, special teams, they all picked each other up when they needed to, right? If you think back to the fourth quarter against Powell, we're down 17-10 going into the fourth quarter. Offense isn't moving. Defense is keeping us in it. That whole thing. Man, they woke up. And if you think about it, they win that game in overtime, and then they allow 8 points in 4 weeks, right? And then you get 2 defensive stands in the last 4 minutes. How many times do you see a goal line stand in high school football? I mean, you got to think about it, right? Like, it takes a minute. So to get 2 at the end, I mean, they're a Netflix movie. I think last year's team was.
I was going to ask that if I could just ask that out loud. Maybe you don't have the answer to that, and I'm not trying to troll anybody. How in the world did we not get a documentary on that team? I mean, that was must-see TV. I mean, the 2022 absolutely, but the 2023, I mean, that's like, the drama and Shane, not to bring it up again, but the Bearden and the Powell games were very similar. Going into the fourth quarter being down, and then a score just sparks it. Defense holding it in, I mean, the other thing too is, no disrespect to Coach Rathbone and Page and everything like that, but I almost think that they got caught up in the moment that they felt that they had to score a touchdown to just put it away, when in reality, you kick 2 field goals, you're down there. It was only a 5-point margin. That's what's kept me up at night sometimes. It's like, hey, I'll take it, but what if it went the other way, because we were not able to move the ball. And then it seemed like the refs were just wanting to get out of there. They weren't calling anything. I mean, this is just me talking right now. I don't want to get you in trouble, but the fact is that team assimilated to every situation and found ways to win. Even in the loss to Alcoa, I mean, realistically, Alcoa only lost 1 game last year, but Alcoa was killing teams prior to that game, and West was in that game throughout, even though the score may not show it. So, yeah.
Well, look, the state championship game, if you think about it, there was 2 plays that really stand out. Other than the Connor Cummings, obviously those are easy, but when they went for it on 4th and 1, Wyatt DeRoche stops them, and we now have the ball. That sparked us. And then you think back, there was an interception where Antoine Burdine, they intercepted our pass. Antoine Burdine steals it back. That's what allowed us to get that Hail Mary. So there's a lot of little things that had to happen. And they don't play a gentle schedule. So the fact that they were able to win it the way that they did, man, it was special. They all are. So.
The other thing I was going to ask you, Paul, with talking about the football schedule, I know that there's different factors. I've heard in the past some teams want to sway away from other teams and so forth. But with West, it seems like the mantra is we'll play anybody, anywhere, anytime. And that iron sharpens iron. I've always said that. That's the mantra of this show. And realistically, have you had difficulties getting people on the schedule to play West during the regular season?
All right, so this is where I'm a rookie, right? So I believe every 2 years we do the contracts with all the other schools with football. So I haven't seen it yet. I think this is probably a contract year where we renew it. I believe you do a home and away with everyone. So we haven't really had that issue to this point from what I've heard. But no, I mean, it's like an SEC schedule on a Friday night. They really do play teams that you have a lot of respect for, have a lot of pedigree, and I say we keep doing it.
Shane, do you have another question? Or Paul, go ahead. You were going to say something.
No, I was going to say my wife works at Alcoa. So for me, I love the Alcoa game every year, because it's a house divided. Somebody's going home sad. I just hope it's not daddy, so.
Let me just say this. They have to play that game. Like in my opinion, I absolutely love that Maryville, Alcoa's on the schedule, the Beardens, like those rivalries have to stay there because at the end of the day, I can't speak for Maryville Bearden because they're in the same classification, but East Tennessee is such a representative every year in all classifications when it comes to football. And it only makes sense that they play each other to see where they measure up when they play the best of the middle and the west. When that
you
time
really put the words on my mouth because like the East Tennessee schedule right now between the 5A, really 3A, 4A, 5A, like it's just brutal. And the amount of athletes we have coming out here right now is amazing, but it makes the game so much more enjoyable to watch.
There's talent all over the field. You know what I'm saying? So it's just amazing when you have all those teams, the Farragut's, all those, man, and look at how you have different games. You have a 14-10 slobber knocker, and then you have a shootout with Farragut where they score and then we score and then they score, so it's like, we have a great deal of respect for those schools. They've got pedigree and they've got a tradition as well. So we respect that. And I think that those are the kind of games that I believe we'll look to continue to schedule. Certainly.
It's nice seeing games that, we all played when we were playing still be on the schedule because like that rivalry that we built is still there. It's just amazing to see us still go up against those teams, and those teams have grown tremendously and they had accomplishments across the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that we're trying to keep an emphasis too with keeping up with our past here a little bit. We're not trying to change those kind of things. Those things are important. Now, obviously the state can reclassify and do the things, but you look for the opportunities to play your neighbors, especially when they're on Kingston Pike. So,
yeah.
It's good for the gate too. Honestly, it's good for the gate as well.
Deposit, right?
Absolutely. Well, and that's what drives it too. Also, absolutely. Paul, could you talk about your background, bud? Where did you go to school? What made you kind of get into the career field you're in now? What led you to this point, if you don't mind, giving everybody a background of where you come from, brother?
Yeah, no. So I was born in New Orleans. I lived there until I was about 9 or 10 years old. My family transferred to Salt Lake City, Utah. Stayed there until I was about halfway through my sophomore year before we moved to Knoxville. Ended up graduating from Knoxville Catholic in '98, which was a good year in these parts. Started over at UT. Graduated over there with a degree in finance, and started officiating football when I was in my early 20s. And I didn't really like the banking thing, and I was just kind of standing around working a game and just kind of looked around. I thought, maybe I might want to give the teaching thing a shot. And so 2009, position opens up at West High School for a business teacher. And so I apply and interview with Mr. Roach. Next thing I know, I've got the job, and I end up teaching about 7, 8 years. The years kind of blend, but I decided I wanted to get into administration. And it's about the time when Dr. Spees came in, and she allowed me to, work discipline and things like that. And so I got a little bit on my plate with admin roles and what that might look like. And just never had a desire to leave here. And, get the call over Christmas break that, hey, you're going to bump into the athletic seat. And thank you, Lord. So it's a good time to be at a place that I want to be, doing something that I want to do with people that I want to be with. And so, I can't ask for anything else. So that's what's brought me here. I don't mean to ramble, but I will. But so I remember my second year, right? To kind of tell you the tradition of it. I remember that, they have the staff, buys and all the things to go into summer. And I remember Coach Debbie Jones was retiring. And I remember that they brought back like Coach Lindsay and, other folks who had been there for a long, long time. And I just remember thinking how neat that was. And I was like, if that was something for me, then I would certainly be happy to be at one place for 30 years. And, I'm halfway there. So Lord willing, I'll finish the other half. So that's my story to it. So
I love the names you dropped, by the way, because Mr. Roach was our assistant principal when we were there, when I graduated, when these guys graduated a year after
He was
me.
the AD my senior year.
Yeah. So, and then the fact to mention Coach Jones, because she was the volleyball coach and taught aerobics and gym and everything like that at West while we were there. So I have a soft spot for Debbie Jones as well. So just the name drops. And of course, Coach Lindsay's legendary. I mean, you see that guy, he's just a cool dude. And I pray for him every day, honestly. So,
well, look, man, that's one of the things that I'm so thankful to be here for so long. That, one of the goals is that, when you walk right outside the gym, you see all the old, yearbook pictures and all the things. And so I know a lot of those have come down, but what I'm trying to do is see if we can, and this was after having a conversation with Coach Gahn with trying to find a way to document the history, Steve Claybo, forgive me, and trying to document the sports with where we've been and maybe what those programs look like. We're very fortunate in our library. Miss Williams has yearbooks from all the way back to 1951. So you want to see if we can't figure out a way to try to hone that and try to piece together going backwards what the puzzle looks like for all the programs and who was on the teams. And I don't know what it looks like, but we'll try to bring up that tradition because, it's important and, it's all around the building. So we'll try to figure out a way to do that with athletics.
we do have a question from the chat box for you, Paul. This comes from Merritt. What do you see as the key to long-term success for all sports programs at West?
That's a lot. Well, obviously the people, right? We have a plan. We have goals. I think really our biggest thing is to continue to keep up with our facilities, to continue to put people in the right spots that are going to help our kids to take what they get in the classroom, use that in sports, and then by the time they graduate, they're better for the entire community. So the One West, I mean, it really is all about the community. And so that's really what it's been. So the long-term success, it really comes down to how you define success. I don't consider it just all wins and losses. You feel it. You just kind of have an idea as to where each team starts and where they finish, and just kind of the mood. And so I'd say the long-term success is obviously the community, and just putting people in the right spots to help our kids the best we can.
Absolutely. Tupper, do you have another question for Mr. Romero?
Man, no, I think one thing I was wanting to ask him. I might be a little staticky because I'm getting like bad connection.
I hear you fine, by the way. I hear you good.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, keep doing
One thing
it.
I was gonna ask him is like as far as the new sports getting into West, like is it harder like for the kids coming out, or is that give the kids an opportunity for one sport that might not excel in to like maybe try a volleyball?
Right. Yeah. So, well, let me say it like this. I think that, like with flag football, right? It's fresh. It's brand new. So the biggest thing is communicating, hey, this is available, and then trying to figure out how do we create that base. But no, it does. I think the more that you have, the more opportunities that there are, right? So I'll say this, with our boys lacrosse program and our girls lacrosse program, first of all, our boys lacrosse, they're going to be a problem too. I mean, I know we're not talking spring yet, but Chandler Klink is our head coach, and he came from the middle school program. So he built that middle school program bumps up to the high school, he works well with who's now in the middle school program. And now we've got that feeder for boys across that, we're going to be a problem. And so with girls across, Bernadette Brzezinski is our new head coach there, and we think that her biggest thing is she's a real stickler on fundamentals, just teaching girls the game, learning how to run and throw at the same time. Those, just as basic as it gets. So, there's more opportunity, and it's really just the more that we have to offer, the more we want you to come and be involved with any of the athletics. Certainly.
I do have another question from the chat box. This is actually from Larry, asking from afar in Louisiana. One of the hardest things to do is reload so you don't have to rebuild. What makes West so consistent in repeatedly reloading to make state title runs, and how do you keep it up?
I mean, people want to be here, and that's been a huge help. Our IB program academically, that's drawn us a lot of athletes who really are focused on the IB path. So for us, we haven't had to necessarily reload, obviously, to rebuild. It's just continuously reloading by people who want to be here. So the consistency is in the IB program, and the people that we have. I think that the word is out in our community that we have a lot of things to offer, so far it's been something that's helped us to separate a little bit. So the goal is, how do you continue, right? And so it's a year-to-year thing, and so we'll take that situation case by case and just see if we can't keep elevating it. But the game day experience, we want it to look like it looks on Saturday. We want that, and we want to keep bringing in alumni. We want it to have that old West with new West kind of tie, so we'll keep working to do that and see where it takes it. So,
Shane, do you have another question for Paul?
Not off the top of my head.
Well, let me ask y'all questions then, if we've got time. Y'all
Absolutely.
all graduated to when? Early 2000s?
I was class of 2002.
I was
2002.
03.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Shane, what about you?
03.
03. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Good to know. Y'all were the Coach Lindsay years. Okay. That's awesome.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead. What was your question though? I'm curious. So, yeah.
Well, no, what do you feel like is different? Like how do you feel with, obviously the facilities, but I guess we've really just kind of put our heads down and done the things. What specifically with maybe how it was run then with how it's being done now?
The support from the school and the community is so much bigger now. Like it'd be mine and BT's sophomore year, James's junior year. Like the support for the football team and basketball team dropped tremendously when we had a new administrator take over, and it went from there was pep rallies every year, like our freshman, sophomore years, to there was no support. Like as across the board, like we didn't have that support from the school. And it's amazing seeing this now. Like I was ready to run through a brick wall back then. Now I'm running through like a nuclear facility. Like it's just amazing the way the community and the faculty support the school now. Like I love it. I've been coaching for 10 years now, and the support that I see at West, I don't see it anywhere else. It's amazing what you all are doing there right now.
If I can add on to that, the traditions were taken from us. I mean, I came from Bearden, and when I walked into West, I'm not going to lie, I was like, I ain't in Kansas anymore. But they keep advertising Wicked, so I'm just like, I ain't in Kansas no more. But anyway, but seriously, when I got to West, I learned so much about diversity, so many things. But the thing that I see now is just that it's just fun. And anytime I can rep a shirt, whether it's championship or West, and showing these beautiful babies off, I'm proud. I'm proud to say that I came from West. I've always been proud. And when I came up with this idea of the show, of, a rebel with a cause. They always so quick to use song lyrics, rebels without a cause. But what if you had a cause? I think that makes you even more maybe dangerous isn't the right word, but more, but you're more motivated. You've got something going for you. And to see what these kids have, the advantages, I hope they appreciate it, because us three, we didn't have that. Talk about no community support. We had to go door to door in Sequoia Hills, hoping that kids as parents that sending them to Webb would donate so we could pay for uniforms to go to football camp. These are real stories. And I hope that the kids that are playing now, like me, I do a donation. Whoever wears number 45 every year gets $100 from me, from James Freeman, because that was my number. But I've also even donated to a couple of the kids to buy those little digital cards that they've been selling and so forth. So anytime that I have a little extra in my pocket to give back to the school that gave me so much and gave me a second chance, it's my cause. And I love doing this show. I don't get paid for this, but the thing is that if I can get this out there and these kids I guess the exposure that they deserve, because we didn't have that. I mean, we talk about it ad lib, community television. Jerome Taylor, God love him, he would have some highlights here and there, but and the news started doing some things with their Friday night hits, Jim Wogan, the Blitz with Mark Packer, and things have evolved over the years. But it's unbelievable where it is now than where it was 20 years ago. It's a generation. So
yeah, we came from a different time in West, to where now you look at the way West High School is, where just all the support and the administration in it, and it's like, who wouldn't want to go to West? And that's what it feels like every time being around it, and just seeing how much it has changed from when we were in school to post college to grown up, you know what I'm saying, adult, to where you have kids now going to West at the age they should be. It's just a tremendous way of seeing how a school looks. It feels like a university. It feels like a mini university.
Well, I'm happy to be living it, because you're right. The community, there's a lot of people come to me about certain things, and so it's just amazing to see the details that they go into with just the football moms that do the camp. There's a lot that goes into that, man. They're a machine. They are just on it. And it's across all the sports. It really is. But I'm glad to see that. I'm sorry y'all didn't have it, but I'm glad it's here now, and we're going to try to see if we can't continue it.
So speaking of camp, what is the reason that what's the reason that schools aren't allowed to travel for camp anymore? Why is camp held on campus now?
I think it's a liability issue.
That's what I also, because I know back in our time, we traveled up to like LMU and Cleveland and stuff like that. Now you see like camps at schools. So I figure it's a liability issue, but I wasn't 100% positive.
Well, I mean, and look at it too. Also from a cost standpoint, if we don't have to get buses and we don't have to take them up there, the fact that we have nice enough facilities where we can do this on our campus, I mean, it's the best of all of it. So I think it's a combination of it.
Yeah, my son plays football, and he's asking me about it because he watches the podcast. And he was like, "Why don't they travel?" And the only part that I told him, the best part about it was like the camaraderie that you build with your teammates while you're away from everything, you're shut off from everything. All you get to focus is on that sport and building that camaraderie with your team. But I get the liability aspect, because that's a lot of money, it's a lot of kids, and there's not that many coaches.
It's not worth the risk. But especially when you have a nice house. When you got a nice house.
Need to show it off.
That's right.
Paul, I do have a question. You've mentioned a lot of the coaches in the respective sports and so forth, but what I did want to ask you, can you talk about the stability that Coach Scott Shavers brings to the football program? I mean, this guy, in my opinion, I call him like the CEO sometimes, or what have you, just because of all the things that he does. And he is West football, been there for, close to 20 years now, because his son Morgan, who's a coach on staff, was actually a lot of people don't know this. He was my freshman buddy when I was a senior. So he started as he started there in 2002, right when I was kind of leaving. So, but can you just talk about the stability and greatness that Scott Shaver brings to the football program?
Yeah, he's a glue guy. And you just said I didn't know that about Morgan, but that's another thing about our community is that people stay and they grow and they give back to it. Gosh, what do you say, Coach Shaver? I never, I always knew him around and all that before I jumped into this seat, and he really does a lot of the dirty work behind the scenes to make sure he does the logistical component to it. To really help Coach Brown to deal with football, and not that Coach Brown doesn't deal with the other things, but Coach Shaver really, he works with the facility. He lets me know if we need anything over there, whatever it is. He is One West through and through. He's I don't even have the words to say it. He's one of these guys like this. Whatever he tells me, what do you need, Coach? I got you. Just give it to me and I'll go. You know what I'm saying? So I have a lot of respect for him. A lot of respect for all the coaching staff, but certainly Coach Shaver has paid his dues and he's got skins on the wall, and I'm glad that he's a part of what we're doing. So he's the best, man.
Yeah, very, very, very awesome, awesome.
Yeah,
yeah, great jobs. Yeah. Okay, let me ask you this. You can play, you can play or you can't play. It's up to you. If you right now, what is your prediction for UT football this year? I don't want to do West because, like you said, one game at a time. So, but with UT football, what is your prediction? Head versus heart. One of the things that I did, because I did want you a part of the show for a minute too, and so forth. And I really appreciate the time that you've given and the answers, and just taking the time out of your busy schedule. But that AP poll did come out, and I believe was UT number 12. Did I see that correctly? I know Georgia was number 1, but I think UT was 15. Was it? Okay,
15.
I think
they were 15. Yeah. Okay. So what are your predictions for UT? Was that ranking too high, too low? The schedule, they've got the toughest conference in America. What's your thoughts on this version of the Vols?
Yeah. So first of all, very excited about what Coach Heupel's doing, right? Speaking of emulating, before just to go off topic, they do that flag football thing at UT where they bring the final 4 teams for that flag football to Neyland Stadium and they play. We're going to try to emulate that for our flag football, the way that they put the teams up on the Jumbotron and all that, all to say. But I think the Vols are ranked a little too low. I think Oregon's probably a little too high. I think Tennessee's going to make some noise. I don't know that we're a national championship winning team, but I will say if there's 12 teams now, I firmly believe that Tennessee is going to be in the playoff. I mean that from a head over heart standpoint. I think they're going to probably lose a game, maybe 2 that you don't wish that they would, but I think that overall at the end they're going to be there. And I think they'll probably win a game. I don't know what the format's going to look like, obviously, but I think Tennessee's about to have a year. I can't predict record because I'm always a one game at a time, right? But I think by the end of it, we're going to say, did they get better from last year to this year? And I think the answer is going to be yes. And I think Nico is going to be a guy that we say, I want that jersey. Not that he probably already in, but like a Hendon Hooker type.
Yep.
Clutch.
I agree with that. And let's be real, and you being here, you've been here in Knoxville, right, since 1998, right? I mean, so truth be told, if you think about this, what it looks like when UT's winning on the weekends. I mean, it's good for the area restaurants, businesses, people like to have a good time. But when it's in the dumps, man, it's depressing. I mean, it really is depressing. So I like to joke around that Fridays are very important to me. Saturdays, absolutely. Sundays, I'm glad you guys got your NFL teams. It's just the Dolphins have stunk for so long. It's like 50 years. I mean, like 50 years since we've been to a Super Bowl, and they just signed Tua and Tyreek to massive deals. I hope your lines of scrimmage hold up because that's what ultimately wins Super Bowls. But that's not me. I don't want to ruin that. But there is definitely some excitement in the fall here when you have a good high school football team, great high school football team, excuse me, and then you've got a team that's competitive and is in the conversation. And like you said, I like it with house money if you're one of the 12 teams. Honestly, like at this point, a loss won't kill you now. like it
Right.
did. I mean, just think about those 96 and 97 teams that would have loved to have gotten a second shot. Maybe somebody knocks off Florida and then they knock off the team that beats Florida. There's some teams that match up better with others. And I would have loved to seen how some of those 90s Tennessee teams would do under this current format with the amount of talent that they had back then. So, yeah.
I would like to see that, man.
They'd have been in the top 12 every time. Yeah,
every
no
time.
doubt.
Every time, probably one of the maybe the buy ranked, or like they have the first weekend off and then host a game before they start going to those neutral sites that they talk about. So yeah, I mean
they're going to be a show.
It is.
I think we fall somewhere between the 5 and 9 ranking in the final playoff bracket. I think we go 10. I think we go 10 and 2. I think Oklahoma might be a little bit of a toss-up, but then also Georgia is Georgia. But I think the rest of the games we run the table, and that puts us in a nice spot. We won't play for the conference championship due to the way that the SEC is now, but that game will determine where our seeding is. That's my opinion.
Honestly, I'm going to go 10 and 2 for Tennessee. I think the two, unfortunately, Alabama and Georgia, but the one thing I do like is that the Alabama game is here. So we did it 2 years ago. Why can't we do it this time? And the jury's going to be out if the board can continue the success of Nick Saban. That's going to be they have the talent. But do they buy in? But do they buy into him? And so forth like that, because there's been a show there, and there might be a humbling experience this year in Tuscaloosa that is much needed, in my opinion. But as an Alabama hater, but Two-Pair, your thoughts?
Oh man, I think the floor is 8 or 9 wins. The ceiling, I want to say, I'm more close to 10 than I was 9.5 a week ago. I feel like it depends on how the defense responds, because the defense was just put in the situations to where they were pressed a lot. And it's just, what can we see from a quarterback that's quicker to process things and eliminate some tendencies and can actually put a little spin on the ball too. So, but their schedule is pretty tough. Like, this college football year is going to be interesting to see, because I think if we can't get in that 12, I'd be disappointed. I think if we can get in the 12 best teams in the country, they could make some noise.
I just think it's brutal. I mean, you mentioned Oregon. I think they're going to get a wake-up call being in the Big Ten. That's a different brand of football. USC, UCLA. There's a reason Chip Kelly left UCLA and is now Ohio State's offensive coordinator, honestly.
No.
So realistically, there's going to be a lot of humbling experience. And here's the other thing, too. Oklahoma, they were struggling there at the end in the Big 12. And, no disrespect to their coach, he was a great defensive coordinator over at Clemson. Venables. But honestly, they don't scare me the way Texas does. Sarkisian knows what the SEC is all about, being at Alabama. I don't think Venables knows what is really going to be headed Oklahoma's way in terms of the speed and the physicality. That's just my opinion. So yeah, but yeah.
Well, to say I'm excited Texas and Oklahoma are here, but I'll tell you, from the ball standpoint, beyond just this season, what I feel like, I don't know much about recruiting and all that. I know about NFL free agency and the draft. I love that part of it. I think the Vols are about to start having guys going in the first round. I think we're about to come back to that type of Tennessee football, James Pierce and, all those things. And so, I think they're coming. The recruiting trail looks good. I feel good about that. I don't know much about it, but everybody else seems to say, hey, 4-star, 5-star, 5-star. So, keep stacking those. We're probably
burning it up on a recruiting trail, especially with the 2026 class. It has been amazing what they've been signing the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, and also I'll throw this out there. I think it'll be a little personal. He'll never admit to it on camera because he's a gentleman, but I think Josh Heupel really wants to give Oklahoma a reason why they should have hired him. You know what I mean? Think about it. He's the quarterback that brought you your national title, and you didn't even. I mean, what are we talking about here? Honestly,
didn't even try.
I
Like,
mean, thank you, Oklahoma.
you.
Honestly, I mean, you're so
Thank you,
stupid.
Oklahoma.
Oh
You
my
would take
God!
Josh Heupel. I'll take a national championship quarterback coach any day, man.
Yeah.
Player that played in a natty. Yeah.
Just to kind of get there, because we're a couple weeks away from the Bearden game, which is just going to be an
Mm.
unbelievable thing, and I do want to get your thoughts on that, Paul. Before
Game day at
we go.
Bearden.
Oh yeah, so we need to tell
Oh,
you about that, okay? But
oh,
but Kerry brings up something. There are some really awesome matchups that first weekend of football.
Mhm.
There should be awesome matchups every weekend. I hate when people say, "Oh, there's really not a sexy matchup," but that's the weekends when the upsets happen. But truth be told, he does have a point. That USC versus LSU, that coach is going to be on the hot seat because there's insane amounts of money being paid, and it's almost like with their respective schedules, you lose that one. I mean, you're really on the outside looking in if you want to get in that top 12.
Mm.
Just my thoughts. So I agree with you,
Mighty
Kerry, on
tough.
that one. It is very mighty tough. So, but going back to this game, I mean, we have the scrimmage this Friday against Catholic. What's your thoughts on that? Because you're a Catholic grad, and so Catholic. I mean, here's the thing: Catholic has really done a heck of a job considering the disadvantage they are compared to the private schools they are competing against. But they're still a brand. They were won a lot of championships in different classifications before they made this jump. Last year was their most successful year. Talk about, what type of scrimmage with a team like that does for our football program or any of our sports in general.
there was I guess 5-6 years back, they're on ESPN and they're having all these kind of games where they're just a factory for college football. Yeah, I think that it definitely makes our guys probably have a little bit more juice. Feel pretty good about going into a scrimmage that it's about as much of a game as you can get prior to the jamboree to get your season going. So I think it's a good test. But I also got to wonder if we're not that too. With all humility, I think that teams look at us like that too. So I'm excited to see it. I always like when we play against Catholic. I love them. I'm a rebel, but I always love going back to Catholic, and so we'll see what it is. Excited to see kind of what their brand of football looks like this year. They've always got athletes, and so I think the biggest thing is, hey, let's just get into a rhythm. Everybody feels comfortable. Everybody knows what their job is, and let's not get anybody hurt. And it's still Friday night football, whether it's preseason or not. So I'm excited to be there and see it. So
like what Two Pair was saying, we have this thought that with the game now officially being at 8:00, big time atmosphere at Bearden, we've even had talks about where the game's more exciting to be played at. Is it at Bearden? Is it at West? You have two sides at West. You have the one side at Bearden, which can get dicey and everything when you have both fan bases on one side. But that being said, we've talked about actually doing a high school game day show Saturday morning live from Bearden High School with the backdrop there, just hours before the game, and just to do a preview, because all the games will be played Thursday and Friday night, and we are the last game of that week 0. And I just wanted your thoughts on that, if you think that's cool, or what do you think, and so forth. Or would Bearden get mad about that? Just curious.
I tell you what, shoot me an email with the details. Coach Schindleber, man, he's great over there. He's always helped me around with all the things that I need in this seat, and so hey, we can bring it up to him. I don't know. We'll see what they say, but
I've known Morgan for years, so he's a good guy.
Great, man. He's really helped me. But I'll say this, man. Last year's game, as great as it ended and all that, we're on TV, all the things. That thing was like a carnival. We had the National Guard coming out here, and we had Tim Burchett out there, which is great. And so it's like. Everybody was out.
Union there.
Wow. Yeah, man. It was
the wreaths too. The wreaths were also done too by Coach Gahn. Yeah.
It's like it was my first game to prepare for, and it was like, here's the Super Bowl on a Saturday sort of thing for high school. So it was great. But I'll always choose to play it at home. I don't see any reason to play it away. Puts a little more work on me, but you know what? It's worth it in the end, especially if you have the home field advantage. So, but I do feel good about that Saturday. I'm excited to see it. They're going to be good. They're going to be a problem, and hopefully we are too. So,
I will say this because it has been a series of streaks, to be honest with you,
Yeah,
just
it
to
has
educate
been.
you on that. West has now won 5 in a row. It would be 6 if West does get it continued. Before that, Bearden had won, I believe, 2 in a row. And then there was a couple
Mhm.
years we didn't play. But prior to that, I believe West had won 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And so then before that, they won 06, 07, 08, 09. And so it's been that record of streaks of whoever is in there. And realistically, prior to 2000, West really didn't beat them. I mean, it was 91 was the last time West beat them before we finally got that that off our back. My senior year in 2001, we were the team to finally do it and so forth.
I remember everybody jumping over the fence at that game.
Yes,
Bearden
it was
had
at
the
Bearden.
fence.
It was at Bearden,
I've
ironically.
had arguments with other Vince Nicole or Nico argue with me. It's like, there's just never a fence along here. It's like, I remember watching the West student section jump over the fence right there in front of the track when we won in 01.
Yeah, just to storm the
Mm.
field. Yeah, because that was a big deal. Because just to give you a lesson, Paul, the year before when we played them, West was celebrating a 50th anniversary as a school, and so they were the first game, and they beat us 30-11. But their students and everybody stormed the field and jumped on our emblem, and it really made us mad. So the next year, we wanted to jump on their emblem and get back at them, and that's when I think it got a little dicey from then on and so forth. It was like game on, that type of a thing. So yeah, so just a little education there. So
hopefully nobody's jumping on our W. We do a pretty good job of getting that thing blocked in the event of, but fun fact that first game last year, if you remember how it ended with the crowd running on the field, we now have more fencing around the field because of that situation. So
yes, we do. Yes.
Maybe it's just another, chapter in the book of Bearden and West, man. So
the other thing too, that I did want to bring up about that, it's interesting that you do bring that up about the chapter of West versus Bearden. In last year's game, the heat factor definitely, decided some things. I'm going to be very intrigued of how being a night game, it could still be hot. I mean, that Clinton game last year where you guys had to take breaks, that was just insane. It was like near 100 degrees on the field and had to take extra breaks. I mean, do you remember another time like that, like as a teacher or anything that they've had to do that in football games? Because I don't remember it ever being that hot, honestly. So. There you go.
Hey, my bad. Ask me the question again. I apologize.
Oh, yeah, no. Yeah, no, just the fact that, like, it's going to be interesting, the game being played at night as opposed to during the day last year, because the heat was such a factor, I felt, for teams in the end. But realistically, I liken it to that Clinton game, that game had to be played an hour later than it was, and it was still hot as Hades outside and so forth. I mean, have you ever been a part of anything like that where extra breaks had to be there for the safety of the players, the coaches, and the referees?
You know what, man, I've been blessed to officiate a lot of games, and I think we've had to stop them here and there. I know you stop it every 4 minutes and we do the things. So we've had that, but that Clinton game, well, first of all, the Bearden game was hot, and we had a lot of issues we had to, tend to around that, which all worked out, obviously. Thank you, Lord. But the Clinton game, man, yeah, I got me a snow cone. It was hot. It was something, but fortunately, there was no stress watching the game, from that standpoint. So, but yeah, no, the heat, it's that time of year, man. I'll tell you this, I'm always big. I love rain. I just don't like rain and cold. I'm a rain guy. I love rain. And so, I'll take it every time. So long as it's not cold, but, yeah, we're about to hit it, I think, for these first 3 games. So,
I remember last year's season. So I was attached with Bearden last year through youth football, and that Bearden West game and then the Bearden Alcoa game were probably the 2 hottest games that I've dealt with ever. And like the Bearden Alcoa game got pushed back an hour. Then there was the controversy with the stadium lights going out. But in the 10 years I've been coaching, those are probably the two hottest game weekends I've ever dealt with in Knox County. That can ever I can
That heat just
I'll take cold.
something else.
I'll take cold. I will. I'll take cold.
The 8 o'clock kickoff will be amazing. I think one, it's got a place to go. It's going to be packed. It's going to be an amazing game, but the weather will be a lot better, and we should have a really good game.
We should. I do want to just say this, Paul. Thanks again for joining us, and we could talk all night about things and so forth. And I know that we all have work tomorrow and so forth. I do want to just say this. Can you comment on a couple of things that we the fans can talk about? The players, they've got one game at a time and so forth. But I'm going to give you some stats that I would just love your thoughts on. And I bring it up every week, not to brag, but because I'm proud. The fact that you have a football team right now that has not lost a 5A regular season game since October 18th, 2019. The fact that you have a football team that has not lost a 5A playoff game since the end of November of 2021 to the eventual state champion that just happened to have the number one player in the country on their team. The fact that you are back-to-back champions for 613 days now, and you have an opportunity to go for a third one. That's never been done in this classification since its existence in 1994. What are your thoughts on those stats when you hear that, being the athletic director?
Yeah, I'm Coach Brown and that staff. I am so thankful to be around them and what they're doing. I told Lamar, man, I said thank you. The fact that I got to be on the field with my son and get the pictures after the game. I'm proud of them, man. But I'll tell you this, how does it make me feel to be around them? I'm very humbled. But I'll say this is that they have had some heartbreaks. And so it's really the fact that they've responded to it, because let's be real, man, that COVID season, that Bridge game, I won't get too deep into it, but just know that that Bridge game, I believe, should have finished a different way.
Yes.
They're at least going if that is different. They're at least going. So at least there's a silver ball there. So all to say, they kept chipping away and had heartbreaks. And then when they kicked the door down, they really did. So how does it make me feel? It just makes me feel very blessed to be around a lot of good people who know what they're doing. And my job is to make their life easy from the standpoint of getting the things done on my end that I need to do to help them to run their sports, to get their kids where they need to get them. And that's my focus. That's my mentality. Just put my head down and go. And so anything that I can do to help them, I'm very thankful to be a part of it. I hope we have a lot more winning. I have a great deal of love. And one of my favorite parts is after the game ends, when you see all the parents come on the field, they're doing the pictures. They deserve that.
Yeah.
And then the parents get to be champions too, So I want that for all of the sports. I want them all to win. I know they obviously can't all win, but I want them to all feel like there's hope in, hey, we're trying to build it to the next level. And at some point they get here, That's why I'm very hopeful for basketball. I think boys basketball, man, they're ready. And
it's time.
I think they're disappointed. I think they're disappointed with the way that it ended, rightfully so. But they've got a lot more, I think, to show, and I think that they're going to do that. So I'm thankful to be around all the people that I am, man. I'm just going to keep working to try to do my part to make it as good as I can, and that's the goal.
I think that this basketball team, and we'll talk more about it when we get you on before the winter, I really believe this basketball team has that 2014 potential that football did to finally break down that door, honestly. With this group of guys from seniors, juniors, sophomores, probably a good backbone of freshmen coming in that might play some varsity. I really am intrigued with what Coach E can do. So, and of course,
Mhm.
what Coach Graves can do and his staff with the girls,
Yeah,
competing. So,
absolutely. Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
well, guys, I'm going to tell you this: we have had an amazing, show. I mean, we got a couple things to talk about, but I want to send off Paul. Thank you so much for your time
Thank you,
coming on
Paul,
and
man. Thank you
promoting
for
the
real.
show. I mean, thank you. So. Yeah. Hey, and listen, we can't let you leave because this is what happens. When you're on this show, you got to throw up that W, baby, because
Gotta
that's
throw
what
the
it's all
dub up.
about right there. There you go. There you go.
There you
So,
go.
absolutely.
Like two of
Hey,
them. He
I
threw
was-
two of the dubs up.
I know I was throwing in the '90s, and now I can actually keep doing it. It's great. So,
Hey, listen. Without ratting him out, by the way, you know how I always ask our guests, "Hey, man, what was your nickname or something like that?"
Yeah,
He said, "Well,
yeah.
they weren't really appropriate for." And I said, "Okay, well, we'll keep it at who
So-
dat, but I don't want to embarrass him. But he's such a good sport." So
Yeah, so I'll say this: I didn't have a nickname. My brother's nickname was Romy, and then in my 20s they just started calling me Old Romy. So I was like, all right, whatever.
I like it. I like it. So,
But I appreciate what y'all are doing, man. Thank y'all for having me. I
Thank
really
you,
Thank you.
man. Thank you.
Have a great school year. Thank
y'all
you.
too. Thanks,
Thank
fellas.
you.
Guys, how
Man, that was
awesome
super
was that,
dope.
man? Let's
That
give it
was
up.
super dope.
Guys,
Yeah.
anybody that was watching this live or recorded, this man works so many long hours of what he does, and he took the time and gave us practically an hour and 40 minutes. Just
Yeah, man.
unbelievable. Just
Yeah.
unbelievable.
And
So,
it was so great. Like there was a nearby outage, so I was cutting in and out of a lot of stuff, man. And just from what I heard, and it's just like, dude, you would want your kids to go to West for this guy.
absolutely.
You would want them to.
Absolutely.
You would definitely want them to.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Guys, we do have a few topics I do want to talk about.
Yeah, let's
Real
get
quick
into
before
it.
we leave, I mean, I know we got started a little bit late, and I know that I love this time. I mean, here's the thing, guys. To get to be with you guys on Friday was not only special that we got to watch the game together, we got to do a show afterwards.
Yeah, we
And I'm
did.
proud
We
to
did.
announce that it was the most viewed show of any of the 33 episodes up to this point.
Hey,
And
man.
I thank you guys. Thank
This
you.
one's gonna be a good episode as
This one
well.
is too.
But for the fact that we went to Jeff County and had a post game show about the scrimmage, it was a good time to be out there, and just from what we got to see, man, we got to see a lot. We got to see a lot, man. That you don't get that instant, like, from the watching of the scrimmage to then telling you what you saw post scrimmage to interviewing the athletic director on Tuesday. Like, you're getting a lot of good content. Like, for a high school kid at West right now, it's got to be some of the coolest stuff to show your homeboys. Like, hey, they talked about this pass. They talked about the Parker Dubon interview. They talked about the defense. They talked about the wide receivers. Like, it's a cool time to be a West High kid right now.
It really is, and I'm going to tell you this, guys. I wanted to let you know, and I think I may have mentioned it in the chat box, our little special thing that we do on Facebook Messenger. But realistically, I was shocked by Spencer Riley's comments. If you did not see them, Spencer Riley was interviewed by one of the reporters from Five Star Preps, because Five Star Preps was covering the different scrimmages, and Spencer Riley said they're good enough to win another one. And for the starting center of the '98 national title team, who has been at Jefferson County here for a while and knows what good football is, that's high praise. And he said that their lines of scrimmage on both sides of the ball blew us off the ball every time. And, it taught him things of what they need to work on for what they're going to face. But it also shows that we're not the only ones that see it. Now, of course, you're about to take a step against another program, a program, not a team, this Friday. It
There's a
doesn't count.
difference.
There's a
There's a
difference.
difference. There's a
But
total difference between a team in a program.
Yes, and it's a
Totally different.
culture, and they have culture over there at Catholic too.
Mhm.
And so my thoughts are, you're going to see where we're at, and then here we go. In 2 weeks' times, guys, it's go time. That's Saturday night. I mean, the lights come on,
Yeah.
and guys, I mean,
I,
it's
I wish Knox County would lift the ban on using the colored lights.
I agree.
I got yelled
I
at.
agree.
Yeah, I love the color
I got
lights,
yelled at.
man.
You put them in there. I mean, you might as well
Yeah,
use
Well,
them.
you
that's 0 cents to me. It's like Knox County paid for those.
Yeah.
But the issue is you can never have a blackout stadium.
Gotcha.
So the delay between the regular stadium lights and those colored lights is a few seconds, and that few seconds is too long. But they designed the program, so you would think they could go back and it's like, hey, let's reprogram this and make the delay like milliseconds compared to like 5 seconds, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
The color lights is a complete blackout till those come on, and then it blacks out again to reset the lights. But man, I would love to see those lights again because at the West game against Bearden a couple of years ago when they first put in all those lights, West hit the colored lights. I was like, ooh, these are
I
pretty.
like the color lights, man. The color lights was crazy.
Oh yeah, yeah, and that's Coach Gone right there. He loves pressing that. So, but
That was me. I enjoyed it.
well, and let me ask you this, Shane. I know, unfortunately, you've got some other football commitments. Being a coach, because that's what you
Yeah.
are. You won't be there this Friday. However, Two-Pair, you and I are going to make it out there. You know, I'd love for us to go live afterwards, just our thoughts on
Yeah,
it. You know, again, weather permitting. I haven't even really looked at the weather, to be honest with you. Of
I'm
course,
down.
we managed to brave through and got lucky last week. So, but that being said, you know, what I'm looking for this Friday is, you know, I think Paul hit it right on the head. We can get through it with no injuries, and let's just see what happens.
Yeah,
And get ready for Bearden in 2 weeks, because you know you got the Jamboree, and that's lost some luster. Unfortunately, it
it
really
has.
has,
It
not
has.
being at Neyland Stadium. But I'm gonna tell you this: that Bearden West game, when those lights come on, I just cannot
Different
wait to see.
atmosphere.
I cannot wait to see it. It's going to be magical, and with all the media coverage, I mean, and like I said, if we can do the high school game day morning thing there, that would be incredible just to get it started.
That
Honestly,
would
just to
be.
get it started. So for sure.
That would be that. You know, if we start this high school game day, it is it is gonna it's gonna lead to more high school game days. Like
Yeah.
this would set the tone for a lot of high schools.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like to have a high school game day and just looking at the command of Parker Dubon
Yeah.
and the way Harrison have been at quarterback, like their command of the offense has been impressive. Like they're going down drives, getting tutties. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? They're
And scoring
they're
them with their legs. They didn't even really
yeah,
have to throw the ball.
Their reads as a quarterback to know where to throw and where to check down to, amazing. But if the play is broken down, they take off. And that is just
yeah,
that you can't coach that always. Like that is just them knowing the game well enough and they put in the work to understand the game. It's like, okay, it's not here, but I see this hole, I'm making a move. I'm making a play. Like that's what you want as your quarterbacks. No
Mhm.
matter if it's the first string or second string, they're set up to drive this team to success.
yeah, yeah.
They are. They
They
are.
are. They
And
are.
it looks like exactly what he talked about, how the wide receivers and the quarterbacks get together on the
Yep.
weekends on their own time. The timing is there. They trust each other. That is huge right there. And the running backs trust their linemen to open up the holes, and they're I mean they are. They
You
just
didn't see
are,
too
honestly.
many
So,
50-50 balls. You know what I mean? You saw precise drives against Jeff County.
The route running by the receivers was amazing. The quarterback knew where his receiver was going to be, so you could tell like where Parker was talking about how they come in on on the weekends and they get together and they throw the ball and they work on those routes. That is what you want from your receiving core your quarterback room. That is what you want. Like, he threw the ball where it's supposed to be at, when the receiver was supposed to make that break, and it was there every time.
Well, and then the other thing is, again, same article from 5-Star Preps. I'm not giving any information that's not already out there. But the fact is that you have a potential receiver that, if he becomes eligible, in Marquell, Detroit, Patterson, who was at South Doyle last year, has transferred to West. If he's eligible, that just makes that wide receiver room even deeper, because Coach Brown was quoted as saying it brings speed and possession to the to the wide receiver core. And this is a gentleman that had 800 yards last year for a South Doyle team that didn't really have that great of a season. So if you think about this, I bet a lot of teams keyed in on a guy like that, and then you just can't key in on him if he's eligible for West, when you've got, our buddy,
Messiah Wren.
Yeah, Antoine. You got too many pieces. Yeah, Mills. I mean, you got too many guys to compensate for. Number 3. I'm just saying that there are so many guys to. Yes.
I mean, it's some guy like West is really deep on this offensive end. I didn't think they were that deep, but man, when you start rattling off, you know what I'm saying, the Tavion Rays that just get to that second level, the Messiah Wren to just make plays.
Yeah.
Like, that's all you said against Jeff County Friday night is Dubon is taking well command of this offense. Like, from the way it looked against Gibbs to the way it looked against Jeff County, you saw command of an offense to where at times it was putting you in the 2nd and 6, the 2nd and 4, the 3 and 1s. Like, there weren't many times where it was 3rd and 15.
Yeah.
Not too many times.
No.
Whereas it was because of penalties.
On every yard, on every play. I mean, there was positive gain. Like, you got what you needed, and you lived to play another down. And it was amazing.
That's an amazing thing that he just said right there, because you're right. The penalties were the only thing that put them behind the 8 ball, the false starts or whatever like that. There really weren't many holding calls. I think there was only one holding call on that long run, but it was still a first down. I mean, it was spot foul. Then they went 10 yards back from that, but it was still a first down because it was such a long gain. Realistically, yeah, it was all positive. And the fact is you talk about the rotation. Guys are ready to go in. Not only are they very well conditioned, but you've got guys rotating in, and they know what they've got to do. So other teams don't have that luxury of that depth. That is incredible on the offensive side of the ball, like you mentioned, Two-Pair, honestly. So.
Yeah, and you saw the second team offense didn't lose a beat. The way Harrison is letting that thing spin, like he's putting some spin on that throw. Like, that's what I'm saying. When you got if that quarterback room, that's a tough quarterback room.
Yes, it is.
It's a tough quarterback room because Harrison's pushing Dubon's pushing Harrison, and you gotta love it. You gotta love the way these guys are pushing each other.
Spring game to the Jeff County scrimmage. We kind of picked him apart after the spring game, and he took it and ran with it. We know he's a fan of the show, and he improved every aspect I want to see improvement in. And it is all there. And then the way he talked to us after the game, that is a very mature young man right there. And props to his dad, his mom, for raising such an amazing young man. And the way he got command of that team is amazing.
And I'm gonna tell you this. I don't want to steal his thunder. There's a certain school that he has his heart set on. I'm not going to reveal it out of respect for his mom and so forth, but I will tell you this: that school would be very, very lucky to have that young man as part of a very tough group of enrollment to get into. But he would be a heck of a rebel with a cause if they take a chance on him.
And you know what? It's just like he dissects the field He sees what the call is.
Yep.
And he's just been like the timing.
Yeah.
That's
And he's
one
had
thing
to,
I will say.
and I'm going
They've
to tell you
been on
this:
time.
he's had to wait his turn. Think about this. You had Carson Jesse 2 years ago. You had
Yeah.
Hunter Dance last year. I
Yeah.
mean, he has had to wait his turn. And realistically, there weren't the blowouts 2 years ago when he was a sophomore getting burned in there because the games were so close last year,
Mm,
but here's the thing. Also the fact that, in that spring game, he probably didn't have that many practices with baseball ending, so he may have been a little rusty, but it shows it's there. And especially with the 7-on-7, he showed me then on the 7-on-7, so I really wasn't surprised what I saw with the first scrimmage
mm,
this week. I don't know how much the coaches want to really expose because, like I said, it's a chess game. You don't want to show Bearden everything you're going to throw. Bearden knows your dudes. We know Bearden's dudes. Everybody's talented. Everybody knows how to coach. It's just one of those
mm.
things. How do the Jimmy and the Joes execute those X's and O's on the field Saturday night at 8 o'clock on the 24th? That's going to be the key.
That's
Right
the
there.
question. That's
That
the
is.
question. That's the biggest question in West Knoxville.
It is.
That is the biggest question in West Knoxville
Yeah.
is who's better, West or Bearden? And for all rights and purposes, then the next question gets asked is who's better between West and Farragut? And
Yeah.
it's like who really you gotta defend the land.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Well,
gotta
well,
defend the
well, and
land.
here's the other thing too. Like I said, I've kind of maybe I put a little target if the rival teams are watching. But here's the thing: Bearden, Farragut. It's nice. It's nice because they're the Kingston Pike teams. But let's be real. They're 6A. Not that we can't compete in 6A. We've shown we can. But the thing is that in 5A, you got Clinton right off the bat with a coaching change, with a program that is going through something right now. Could they be the team that is that first 5A team to beat West in a regular season game on a home opener?
Mm,
I'm not saying
mm.
they can do it. I think anybody
But
has a
it's
chance.
a lot going on because the
Yeah.
target is on the hunter.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? The hunter is now being hunted even more when they remained the hunter. And
Hmm.
that's the thing. West has remained the hunter while everyone is hunting West.
Hmm. Yeah. And it looks like this team does, I don't want to say hold grudges, but they have good memories. They wanted to take it to Jeff County last Friday night
They
because they
did.
remembered what happened.
They did.
Catholic,
Well,
yeah, and Catholic took it to them last year. I'm wanting to see what happened. Now, here's the other thing too. Maybe, just maybe, yes, in the scoreboard, West beat Bearden. But if you watched that game, you would not look at the scoreboard. You would say,
it,
Bearden controlled it.
that game really came down to a busted coverage.
Yes.
Final 14 seconds of the game, or however many seconds were left.
Yeah.
It was just a blown coverage in the secondary, and it was still very close. Like he was there.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. And as a matter of fact, when the Bearden player's helmet fell off, because Bearden has that maroon colored helmet, I actually thought that was the ball that had been dropped. Like I thought, oh, it didn't, but he held on, and it was really
The,
the helmet.
the player that was there and was that the coverage was blown. I love that kid to death. That kid is an amazing kid, amazing athlete. I'm not sure if he took the opportunity to walk on at UT or not.
He should have. So
Yeah,
yeah.
man, he was all state.
Yep. Yep.
And
So
all region, so like, but I know his personality. I know him as a player, and I know that was devastating for him because it was right there.
yeah.
And that was a 6'3", 6'4" safety back there who I've watched in multiple games just grab the interception one-handed. Like that kid's hard. He plays that game the way you're supposed to.
Oh yeah.
For
And so my point is maybe Bearden did feel they left one out there and they're wanting it, but here's the other thing too. Maybe West has heard, you all won that game, but you shouldn't have won that game. Maybe they come out with a little bit of passion, that the margin of victory, they want to prove that they won this year. I mean, listen, a win's a win, but I'm just saying that it seems like there's a little vigor in this squad that they want to really show out. And not that last year's team didn't, but I think there are some guys on this year's team that understand what's at stake. And if they have bought in, like
Yeah.
Captain Jack said, yo, that's
Well,
all I'm gonna say.
you also don't want to be the team that doesn't reach the mountaintop like the previous two teams have done. So you have that on your shoulders, like, well, they did this. I was a part of that team. I'm just as good as they were. Let's prove it to everybody.
Hey, to get 3 is the key.
I like that. To
But
get 3 is the key.
but what is the key to get 3? And that's what we are. We're on the quest. If we're on the quest for the third one, the keys of emphasis, and I think it leads by the guy we talked to Friday.
Oh yeah.
I really think, man, Dubon's got a calmness about him that is gonna win football games. Like he's had to wait, and when you said the wait, like if Parker shows that patience to perfection, 3 may be the key. Like there's a key to the 3.
I think they love, not that these other teams didn't love each other, but there's something about this senior group. They've stayed together. They were 8th grade champs. And yes, they've gotten rings being, the sophomores and the juniors. It's their time now, more than anything. The Jack Keiths, the Wyatt DeRoches, these guys, were contributors without a doubt, but now they're the man. It's their team. And
as a guy who coached kids who've won that 8th grade championship or had kids on those teams, and when they get to high school, they know what they're capable of because you're playing the same group of kids, really.
Same group of kids, yeah.
Especially within Knox County because they're all in the same league now.
Yep.
And you're designed to play where you're going to go to school at. So these kids have all competed against each other. So that chip on your shoulder, that camaraderie, the wanting to take down your rival team, because when we played West, when I was over at Bearden back in those days, like I was like, hey, like you all don't understand, like this is a rivalry. Like you get to the high school level, they're 6 miles down the street.
Yep.
And like this is like for me, it was personal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I went to school there and I love West. But when I was coaching, like I had to, like these were my boys, and like I had to be like, hey, like I know what this rivalry is. I've played on this side. I can tell you how they look at you right now and how you should be looking at them. And they're not going to take this light. In that game, that Parker was on that team that I coached against, and his dad was one of the coaches. That's when John Chavis was the defensive coordinator for them when he was over there. I literally have it on my resume. Beat John Chavis.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. I would feel the exact same way if the roles were reversed. I would, like for example, if my kid went to Bearden or what have you, it would be hard for me to root against my own kid, of being a West guy, and vice versa and so forth. Because there's some guys, we talked about it. There's some guys that played at Bearden that sons are on the football team at West, and that right there shows, that. Hey, the district lines have moved, and it is what it is, and so forth. So that you want it's a fun rivalry, and I just think it's going to be as intense as. I would be very surprised if one team dominates the other. Is that fair to say? I would be very surprised.
Those games have been close the past.
They have.
I've watched so many games where it literally came down to the last play of the game. I remember watching a West player toe tap in the end zone to score the winning touchdown.
I think that was a 19 game. I think it was a 19 game.
I think the game ended like 17-13. It was a hell of a pass. And he rolled out to his left, hit him right down the left sideline, and it was just a toe tap. I'm talking about coverage was there. But
Is that for the game winner? It was the game winner.
Yeah. I mean,
last year's game where it came down to the final seconds, and Bearden still drove down the field with what time they had left.
Yeah. It was the Ryan Scott interception that sealed it, because I think the quarterback got hit when he was throwing it or something.
Yep.
It got bad at something.
Drew got hit on it. But I mean, this game, I've heard I've been at both locations, played at both locations. I think when it's at Bearden, is a more hostile environment and enjoyable game because you're all right there.
I agree with that.
As much as the home games at West are amazing, it's when you have everyone packed on one side of the stadium, because you can't go to the other side, or where the practice field is, and the locker room, the athletic facility. You're all right there, and it is standing room only. The track is filled except for where the dance team is and the cheerleaders are. It's packed wall to wall. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be an amazing game, and it's going to be the must-see game. It's going to be televised, and everyone in Knox County will be there because it's the Saturday night game.
Absolutely.
You're going to have the Catholic kids, the Webb kids. You're going to have every kid from every other school. They're all going to be there.
Oh yeah, and you know that the Farragut coaches are going to be there scouting. Clinton's going to be there scouting. All future opponents are going to be there scouting and so forth. I mean, I remember last year, Alcoa's players and coaches came because they played Greenville. They came to scout Maryville and West. They were, and we even thought they were looking at Maryville. And you know what one of the coaches said to me? No, we're looking at you guys. And here's the thing, maybe they should have been looking at Maryville, because then they ended up losing to Maryville or whatever, which is kind of really funny if you think about it. They put all their eggs in that West basket. That's the thing.
The fact that Maryville lost both West and Bearden last year.
And Farragut.
Farragut had a really rough year last year.
They did. They should have been in the playoffs. I don't know what they were doing against not Bradley Central, but Cleveland that game. There was one game. Yeah.
Cleveland shocked everybody last year. Like, no one expects that from Cleveland. No one.
No.
And I remember being up in the press box doing the scoreboard, and we're sitting there, like, Cleveland's winning. We're like, what the? Everything that you would expect them to be. And they had a magical season last year.
One thing I do want to say, too, Pear, that you said about the quarterback room, can we just say this? Can you name me a room of all those different position groups that's not 3 deep? Like, do you see what I mean? Like you got 3 tight ends that were making plays out there. You had, okay, I'm going to say it again, a plethora of receivers. A plethora. You have a stable of running backs. I mean, you have offensive linemen. Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying. And then look at the defense. You had defensive linemen rotating in. The linebackers looked very good.
The linebacking core improved tremendously.
From spring to summer, you were right. Yeah.
Because you could plug in anyone out there that they were plugging in, and it was just, you weren't skipping a beat. It wasn't like, okay, I just need you to go in here to give him a blow. Like, you're actually you're in there, you're making plays. It was amazing.
Yeah. And then here's the other thing, too. You've got 2 kickers, 90 and 93, whomever they are, literally competing for the kicking spot. Like, that's something cool, too, that it's not just one guy you're rolling out there praying to God he can make the extra points and the field goals. You have a legit competition going on there.
With the game coming up, I don't see many returns available for West because Bearden's kicker is literally he's a 5. I'm pretty sure I saw him last year hit 60-yard field goals.
Oh, he was solid. No, he was solid last year.
His name is Daniel Kinney, and that kid can kick a freaking football.
I mean, honestly, you don't want to settle for the field goal, but the fact is that if you're getting to the 35-yard line and you have a kicker that can make a 52-yard field goal, mazel tov, honestly. Like, I mean that, like, realistically. So, yeah. And he's a weapon for him, you know. And like I said, whoever does get the kicking job at West, you have to, replace Patrick Schmidt, who has the all-time record of points scored by a kicker in West history now. So, and Patrick had to wait his turn before he kicked his senior year. And that's the thing too, that you have a culture of a team where guys have patiently waited, and now they're going to show that they have waited, and they're going to make a difference. They're going to be rebels with a cause, no pun intended. So, yeah. Guys, I know that we're running kind of low on show. There, one thing I did want to announce that I didn't get to with Romero on the show, and the West High cleanup is this Saturday, 9 to 12 at the stadium. If you can be there to offer hands, weed, the weed eaters, the blowers, like anything that can get that stadium impeccable for that first game against Clinton in a couple of weeks, please show up. They will put us to work, and we'll make that stadium immaculate, because I was unfortunately not around last year to be a part of the cleanup. But when they had that stadium impeccable for the Bearden game, they had it impeccable. So I'm hoping that we can do the same for Clinton game 1. So please show up 9 to 12 this Saturday, and that would be very awesome. So a couple of things I just wanted to bring up, guys. The Olympics real quick. Track is doing very well. America is doing amazing in track, even winning medals that they really didn't have any business.
Gabby Thomas in the 200.
Yeah.
Yo.
Oh,
Yo.
that was my race back in the day. That was my race.
Hey, what about the two guys that that won gold and bronze for an event in America that hadn't won in 112 years today, or what have you?
1500 meter, man. 1500 meter. It was amazing. It was great.
Yeah.
To get gold and to get bronze.
Oh, it was huge.
I watched the highlights of that, and with his other case getting third, and then he just kicked into another gear. And
born to run, man. He was born to run this day. It was his day. So had an out-of-body experience. And let me just do some salutes real quick. I want to give a shout out to Katie Ledecky for winning the gold in these events for the 4th straight Olympics. Shout out to Simone Biles. I mean, her greatness is incredible. You look at the swimmers. I'll tell you this. I was very happy that the U.S. swim team did best Australia after all the trash talked by Australia. If anybody didn't see it, making fun of the cowbell, didn't want to hear our national anthem. I mean, they really wanted to take it to America. But in the end, America did it with a world record with the girls in that individual medley of the 200. And unbelievable that they set the world record and bested Australia, 8 gold medals to 7, and then the overall medal count, which is what they were looking at. But I will say this, the American swimmers, it was funny, Romero mentioned something today about the 2014 team being honored, and it's going to be awesome to see. But the fact that they did have those signs up and around 28, 27 and had to look at that, for the American swimmers that lost these events by 1/100th of a second, I mean, that's like inches. I challenge you this. You have 4 years, and you should have 1/100th of a second up in your swimming facilities and everything like that. Because in 4 years, when it comes to Los Angeles, you need to defend that pool a lot better than what you did, because the rest of the world.
How about that 100 meter like 0.5 milliseconds?
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. And that's the difference between gold, silver, bronze, and being left off the damn podium. Simple as that. So that should be motivation for the swimmers. So yeah, that was my piece. So, how's USA basketball? Did they win today, or they play tomorrow?
Oh, did they win today?
Yeah, I didn't. I was so busy with work, guys. I didn't even get to see it. Unfortunately,
like it just like I love the way they look against Brazil.
Wow,
I really do. Just the passing and the motion, and they're just they're more talented.
Yeah.
Like,
they look like they're having fun out there. At least the last game I saw against Puerto Rico. So they did. So yeah, I mean,
yeah, the way LeBron's looking, you can bring KD off your bench. When has KD ever been off the bench in his career?
Maybe pee-wee basketball or whatever, like when you're going out there with those real high shorts or whatever for the first time, 5 years
All
old.
you already know, he was already 6'4" in like fourth grade. I'm not 7 feet tall. We're taller than 7-footers on the roster.
For
Man,
sure, for sure. Well, and the track team though, Shane, the USA track is doing great.
Gabby
Yeah.
Thomas,
Oh
that was
man.
beautiful in the 200.
Yeah.
Like that was like speed.
Mm-hmm. It was.
We were while Romero was on and I was watching. I'm like,
Oh, I know.
oh my gosh, she's gonna win.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Well,
We're pulled away. Like it was just
She won bronze in the Tokyo game.
yeah, and she just really, I mean, that's what I'm talking about. She brought it for 3 years. She got ready to kick some butt tonight, or today rather. The other thing too, when it comes to the Olympics, beach volleyball, I hated seeing one of our teams lose yesterday,
Yeah, I did
but
too.
man, that team Canada. It's Rebels After Dark now. Team Canada. Yeah. Hey, or whatever. Hey. They just wanted it more, man. I mean, America had a 5-point lead, and then they reeled off 6 and never looked back, honestly. But I think the other team, Chang and them, they're still in it. They won today, and they're on a collision course for that gold medal with, ironically, that Canada group. So that Canada team. So yeah, so that'll be interesting to watch tomorrow. Or in the next couple of days when those medals are settled in those games. Yeah, and then finally, the only other thing I wanted to talk about, guys, was the SummerSlam. I mean, 4 championships changed hands, and our predictions were way off. I mean, we took
Way
the
off.
safe route, and Triple H or whoever's in charge of creative said, we're going to make Braun Breaker this champion. We're going to let Nia Jax be the women's champ. We're going to let Gunter be the champion, I mean, and then of course we all saw Dirty Dom and Liv. We saw that one coming, man. He Dirty Dom. I mean, he got his chicken nuggets, man. He got his chicken nuggets.
We called that one. Like that was
Yeah.
we knew that was happening.
Yeah, Larry Frank. Shout out to Larry Frank on that one. And then, of course, when the tribal chief came back, the pop, the amount of views, the amount of merchandise sold. He sold 1,365 title belts with that emblem for $600 each.
I think he brought in $300,000
from those championship belts.
Well, between the belts and just like other merch when that pop happened.
Listen, guys, love him or hate him, he puts asses in the seats to watch. He's must-see TV, and love him or hate him, I'm telling you, the guy has earned my respect. Couldn't stand him when they shoved him down our throat 10 years ago, but now he has earned the OTC mantra on his shirt without a doubt. So yeah, I mean that's what I got. So yeah, but
I like it.
Yeah, I like it too. Well, Two Pair, I'll see you Friday from Catholic,
man.
and we'll do it.
High.
We'll do it, Shane. I will
Catholic
give you a
high.
full rundown of what goes on and so forth, and maybe you can even catch the show and so forth like that, and chime in on the chat box at 9:00 when we probably go live whenever they decide to go.
Let me verify the schedule. I know we got a lot of stuff going on football wise, but I'll guys verify my schedule, make sure everything is what I've heard. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think we got to turn in our game jerseys so the boys can get their jerseys presented to them at this pep rally. It's like they already have them. Like just call their name out.
And give them the love, give them the dap. Dang it, come on.
Yeah.
So yeah, so. Well, like I said, great show, guys, as always. Can't wait to see the views. Remember, if you are watching this, hit that like and subscribe button, baby. Tell everybody about what's going on. Promote the cause. We all have our cause. This is our cause. So definitely hit that like and subscribe button. And the more views we get, the more we get the message out there, because we are all rebels with the cause. Coach, final thoughts before we end this thing. Go.
Just big thanks to Paul Romero for joining us tonight and letting us ask him every question we had and him asking us questions. What you're doing at West is amazing. Keep it up. You've got our support.
Absolutely. And shout out to
Yeah,
Dr.
man.
Spees. Honestly, she's more than welcome to come on. If she is the true boss or whatever, please come on. We would love to have you, Dr. Spees, on our show.
Definitely would
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
man, they gave us a phenomenal show tonight. Like
They
a
really did.
really phenomenal show.
And
tonight.
the fact that there's even been maybe talk about us being given a spot on the Jumbotron, I mean, it's not official. The fact that he's willing to go to bat with Bearden's AD to give us a spot to do a live show there before the game that morning. I mean, the fact that it's even on the table, guys, it's
I think the best spot set up will be right there at the top where the hill goes up. You get the backdrop of the stadium, you get the scoreboard back there.
Yep. And that's where we're going to set up. If we get the permission, that's where we're setting up. Simple as that. So running a long cable. So yep. So two pair as always, brother. Hey, we got to do the dubs. We're going to do the dubs real quick. Hold on. I'm going to switch one thing real quick. I'm going to go to this window real quick. Let's see here. Yeah. See here. All right, get that dubs up right there, guys. And two pair. Let's close it out, baby. As always.
Hey man, love, peace, and chicken grease. Hey, you know what it is, man. Rebels with a cause. We out.
That cause don't stop when the clock hits 0, baby. Go Rebels.